Imagine a solitary gleaming artifact plunging blindly into the freezing eternal night of the outer solar system. It carries the delicate heartbeat, the rushing rivers, and the whispered greetings of an entire planet, waiting patiently for a stranger to find it in the dark. This cosmic structure is a masterwork of longing, a symphony of human existence pressed into a single fragile shield. Picture the absolute crushing silence of the interstellar medium suddenly shattered by the soaring, orderly logic of a breathtaking mathematical concerto. Deep within this lightless ocean, the triumphant genius of our greatest earthly composers sails endlessly outward, seeking an audience trillions of miles from home. Surprisingly, this desperate, beautiful broadcast is meant for alien minds that might not even possess the biological ability to hear our music. If we were to look closer at this impossible mission, we would find a staggering paradox wrapped tightly in a jacket of aluminum and gold. We have whispered our deepest secrets and our most vibrant landscapes into a void that may be utterly blind to our specific reality. Yet, we threw this message into the vastest ocean conceivable anyway, refusing to accept that our fleeting, beautiful existence would fade away unnoticed. Notice how the overwhelming scale of these infinite distances dissolves completely as you sink into the quiet, heavy comfort of your own room. The galaxy outside your window is endlessly vast and perpetually in motion, but right here, right now, you are perfectly secure and grounded. You're safe. As your eyelids grow heavy and the sharp boundaries of the waking world softly blur, prepare to embark on the greatest journey ever charted by human hands. We begin at the very inception of this grand, impossible dream, tracing the physical creation of our ultimate message to the cosmos. The smooth, cold weight of a gold-plated copper disc resting in the palm of a hand feels like a heavy promise made to the stars. The smooth, cold weight of a gold-plated copper disc resting in the palm of a hand feels like a heavy promise made to the stars. Born from the Earth, this masterwork was initially forged from high-quality copper, chosen for its remarkable durability and precise acoustic properties. Copper alone, however, would inevitably succumb to the unforgiving corrosive elements of raw space and the punishing radiation of the cosmos. To withstand the harsh environment of the interstellar medium, engineers meticulously plated the entire artifact in a brilliant layer of pure gold. This radiant shield was not merely an aesthetic choice to dazzle potential extraterrestrial eyes, but a crucial chemical armor designed to prevent degradation over billions of years. The golden surface reflects the distant light of alien suns, keeping the grooves perfectly intact as the probe sails endlessly into the dark. If we were to look closer, the sheer perfection of the manufacturing reveals a profound dedication to preserving humanity's ultimate message. Every groove and curve was protected by this gilded shell, ensuring that the faint whispers of our blue planet would survive the violent extremes of a journey without end. This artifact is a shining beacon of human resilience, carrying the fragile memory of a fleeting civilization outward into absolute eternity. Deep within the cover's design, a secret rhythm ticks away in absolute silence, completely independent of gears or springs. A small, carefully measured amount of the isotope uranium-238 was electroplated onto the exterior surface of the record's protective casing. This invisible addition serves as a highly precise radioactive clock, designed to outlast any mechanical device ever constructed by human hands. Surprisingly, the universe operates on immutable laws of physics that extraterrestrial scientists would undoubtedly understand and measure. Because uranium-238 decays at a known constant rate over billions of years, half of the original material slowly transforms into different elements. By measuring the remaining isotope against its decay products, any advanced civilization finding the probe can mathematically determine the exact moment it was launched. This brilliant inclusion transforms a simple audio disc into an astronomical timepiece floating through the void of the Milky Way. The half-life of this specific isotope is nearly 4.5 billion years, mirroring the approximate age of the Earth itself. Long after our sun expands and swallows our homeworld, this silent atomic clock will continue to gently count the passing eons in the dark. This cosmic structure includes a vital layer of defense against the invisible dangers lurking in the seemingly empty void between stars. Enclosing the precious golden record is a highly durable, specially engineered protective aluminum jacket. Space is entirely devoid of air, but it is deeply saturated with microscopic debris, rogue dust, and violently fast micrometeorites. Picture a sandstorm raging in slow motion across the eternal night, where even a grain of cosmic dust strikes with the force of a bullet. The aluminum shield was specifically designed to absorb these devastating kinetic impacts, sacrificing its own surface to protect the delicate grooves hidden within. Over thousands of millennia, this outer casing will undoubtedly become pitted, scarred, and weathered by the relentless abrasion of the cosmos. Yet, every scratch on the aluminum shell tells a story of survival against the impossible odds of an endless interstellar voyage. The engineers anticipated this violent environment, calculating exactly how much armor was needed to preserve the musical soul of humanity safely beneath. Because of this unassuming metallic sleeve, the golden artifact remains securely untouched, dreaming in the dark as it plows through the dusty remnants of ancient supernovas. Etched onto the bright surface of the protective cover are delicate, intricate diagrams meant to bridge an unimaginable gap of language and culture. These crisp, geometric lines and circles serve as an instruction manual for an alien mind, explaining exactly how to unlock the audio hidden within. Without these crucial visual guides, the gleaming disc would be nothing more than a baffling artifact of dead metal to a curious finder. The universal language of science was employed to communicate the mechanics of a simple phonograph to beings who might have never seen one. The masterminds behind the mission utilized foundational mathematics and physics, drawing a stylus resting correctly against the outermost groove of the record. These elegant illustrations demonstrate the exact physical process required to extract the symphony of Earth from the silent copper spiral. Every etched line was carved with profound hope, forming a cosmic translation key that relies entirely on logic rather than terrestrial words. The creators understood that the concept of playing a record might be entirely alien to a species that communicates through light or chemical signals. Therefore, these minimalist engravings stand as humanity's greatest attempt at cosmic pedagogy, patiently waiting to teach an unknown student the art of listening. Curiously, the architects of this grand message did not merely send the puzzle, they also provided the exact key needed to solve it. A specialized playback stylus is safely tucked alongside the record, packaged securely against the relentless vibrations of a thunderous rocket launch. This small, unassuming needle is ready to read the grooves at a moment's notice, waiting patiently for the touch of an alien hand. Providing the instrument of playback was a stroke of profound foresight by the visionary team behind the Voyager mission. They realized that expecting an extraterrestrial civilization to construct a highly specific, diamond-tipped needle from scratch was an unreasonable gamble. By including the cartridge and stylus, the engineers dramatically increased the chances that the sounds of our world would actually be heard. This tiny piece of hardware rests silently in the freezing vacuum, a mechanical ambassador accompanying the grand golden diplomat. It represents the deeply human desire to be truly understood, removing every possible barrier between our recorded voices and a distant listener. When the momentous day of discovery finally arrives, the equipment will be whole, perfectly prepared to resurrect the vibrant chorus of a distant blue planet. The sheer magnitude of capturing the entire human experience stands in stark contrast to the fleeting, frantic timeline allowed for its creation. A dedicated committee, brilliantly led by the visionary astronomer Carl Sagan, was given an impossibly brief window of only 6 weeks to assemble the contents. They were tasked with building an unprecedented cosmic time capsule that would definitively represent the vast chaotic beauty of Earth to the stars. Imagine the crushing weight of selecting the defining sounds and images of an entire planet, while the launch date rapidly loomed closer. The team worked tirelessly through sleepless nights, engaging in passionate debates over which musical notes or photographs best defined our complex species. Every single second of audio and every chosen image was scrutinized, knowing their final selections would become the permanent legacy of humanity. This frantic rush against the clock resulted in a wonderfully imperfect, deeply emotional masterpiece that captures the essence of who we were. The 6 weeks of exhaustive curation produced a record that is simultaneously a rigorous scientific document and a wildly romantic work of art. In less time than it takes to change seasons, a handful of humans successfully compiled the immortal soul of our world. Notice the complex mathematical poetry explicitly written across the shining cover, specifically engineered to communicate the precise mechanics of time. If we were to look closer at the visual instructions, they include a binary representation of the correct rotational speed for playing the disc. This critical measurement is ingeniously based on the fundamental transition state of the hydrogen atom, the most abundant element in the entire universe. By utilizing the universal constant of hydrogen, the creators completely bypass the arbitrary nature of human seconds, minutes, and hours. The transition of the hydrogen atom produces a specific microwave frequency that dictates a foundational unit of time understandable by any advanced intellect. Translating this cosmic rhythm into simple binary code allows the extraterrestrial user to calibrate their newly built turntable to the exact intended speed. This brilliant mathematical translation ensures that Beethoven and Chuck Berry will not be distorted into terrifying screeches or slow, unrecognizable moans. It is a stunning example of using the vast cosmos itself as a shared dictionary between two entirely different civilizations. The timing marks pulse silently on the golden cover, offering a perfect, unchanging metronome that will outlast the stars themselves. Beyond the audio tracks, a hidden gallery of incredible visual wonders is brilliantly concealed within the spiral grooves of the golden artifact. To ensure the encoded analog images could be correctly decoded, the protective cover features a precise drawing of a standard video waveform. This crucial diagram explains how the audio frequencies can be perfectly translated back into lines of visual data on a blank screen. The concept of converting sound into a television picture was a marvel of terrestrial engineering that needed to be explained from scratch. The waveform illustration shows exactly how the signal drops and rises, defining the start and end of every single horizontal line in a photograph. It acts as a visual guide for the spectrum, teaching a foreign mind how to see Earth through the medium of sound. Without this elegant wave pattern, the carefully curated photographs of human life would sound like nothing more than harsh, chaotic static. The inclusion of the waveform diagram reveals a deeply optimistic belief that our cosmic neighbours will possess both immense patience and boundless curiosity. It is an invitation to not just listen to our world, but to vividly watch the breathtaking landscapes and faces of our distant home. Gleaming in the absolute dark of deep space, the record acts as a pristine, physical testament to a specific era of ambition. It represents the absolute pinnacle of 1970s human engineering, forever freezing a moment of technological triumph in a vacuum devoid of decay. The analog nature of the disc, now largely obsolete on Earth, remains perfectly preserved as a high-water mark of late 20th century scientific ingenuity. While humanity rapidly advanced toward a digital future, the Voyager probe carried the heavy mechanical reality of our past out into the galaxy. The Golden Record relies entirely on physical friction and raw acoustics, an elegant simplicity that ensures its long-term survival in the hostile void. There are no fragile microchips to be corrupted by cosmic rays, nor complex software formats that could easily become hopelessly unreadable over time. This analog artifact sails onward as a proud monument to the scientists and dreamers who dared to speak into the vast, crushing silence. It is a beautiful irony that our most futuristic endeavour was achieved using the warm, tactile technology of a standard living room phonograph. Suspended forever in the starlight, it is a magnificent fossil of human progress, endlessly orbiting the centre of the Milky Way. To capture the vast complexity of an entire world, the engineers had to dramatically manipulate the physical limits of the recording medium. The spiralling grooves of the golden disc are deliberately cut at 16 2/3 revolutions per minute, a radically different pace than standard music. This agonizingly slow rotational speed was specifically chosen to maximize the acoustic storage capacity, effectively doubling the amount of information the record could hold. Because of this technical adjustment, the team was able to fit nearly 90 minutes of breathtaking audio onto the two sides of the artifact. However, this dense packing of data came with a severe cost, slightly degrading the overall fidelity and high-frequency crispness of the recorded sounds. It was a necessary compromise, trading perfect acoustic clarity for a vastly richer, more comprehensive portrait of the human experience. This slow, hypnotic rotation mimics the patient, creeping journey of the probe itself as it coasts outward through the freezing interstellar night. When the stylus finally drops, the record will spin at a sluggish, deliberate crawl, slowly unfolding the grand story of planet Earth. The resulting symphony is a densely packed miracle, holding the laughter, music, and tears of billions within a few microscopic valleys of gold. Rising slowly from those microscopic valleys of gold, the very first acoustic frequency to emerge is not of terrestrial origin, but a deliberate mathematical translation of the vast cosmos itself. The audio journey begins with the ethereal music of the spheres, a haunting, whistling harmony representing the celestial clockwork movement of the planets. This concept, derived directly from Johannes Kepler's intricate equations of planetary motion, translates complex orbital velocities into seamlessly shifting auditory pitches. If we were to look closer at this opening sequence, it serves as a brilliant cosmic handshake before introducing the intimate specifics of our own homeworld. It establishes a profound shared reality, acknowledging that both the human sender and the unknown alien listener are bound by the exact same gravitational choreography. By starting with the universal rhythm of orbiting celestial bodies, the record gently transitions the extraterrestrial ear from the dead silence of space into the vibrant realm of sound. The rhythmic crashing of ocean waves echoing against a distant, untouched shoreline soon follows, physically grounding the listener on a watery dynamic sphere. This dramatic transition from the cold mathematics of the solar system to the fluid, chaotic dynamics of a coastline perfectly sets the stage for a living, breathing planet. As your own chest rises and falls with a steady breath, the crashing surf introduces the ceaseless, driving pulse of terrestrial nature that shapes the continents. Deep within the chronological narrative of the audio track, the immense geological power of a restless planet violently interrupts the serene, repetitive ocean surf. Listeners across the cosmos might one day hear the rumbling, terrifying force of an earthly volcano suddenly erupting into a thick, primitive atmosphere. This thunderous, bass-heavy explosion is a visceral, intimidating reminder that our world is not a static rock, but a fiercely active, molten engine of creation and destruction. This acoustic structure of chaotic sound conveys the sheer, unimaginable scale of planetary forces that far exceed the capabilities of any biological life form. The deep, rumbling roar of shifting tectonic plates and escaping magma creates a massive sonic footprint of raw, unbridled geothermal energy ripping through the crust. It tells a violent story of a young, volatile sphere continually reshaping its own outer surface through the violent expulsion of internal radioactive heat. Surprisingly, this aggressive acoustic display is absolutely necessary to communicate the fundamental, energetic conditions required to forge continents, oceans, and eventual atmospheric stability. An advanced extraterrestrial civilization would instantly recognize this tectonic roar as the unmistakable signature of a geologically living world capable of sustaining a dynamic, protective envelope of gases. The fiery blast serves as a dramatic, overpowering overture to the delicate, incredibly fragile biological sounds that will eventually follow in the planet's long evolutionary timeline. Following the catastrophic violence of the eruption, the audio landscape shrinks significantly to focus on a much smaller, intensely intimate expression of subterranean heat. Mud pots bubbling gently in the background capture the geothermal heartbeat of a primordial, pre-human Earth simmering under a thick, archaic and unbreathable sky. The thick, viscous popping sounds evoke a bizarre landscape still finding its chemical balance, where boiling water and dissolved minerals mix in a primitive, life-giving soup. Notice how this peculiar rhythmic gurgling feels almost like a living digestion, representing the highly active sulfurous thermal vents scattered across the early, barren continents. These unassuming bubbling pools are the very crucibles where the complex carbon-based chemical building blocks of life are theorized to have first successfully formed. The audio paints a vivid sensory picture of a steamy, hostile wilderness entirely devoid of eyes to see it, yet humming with immense biological potential. Let your shoulders sink heavily into their resting place as you imagine this ancient, humid heat radiating from the primordial, vibrating ground beneath you. The slow, rhythmic popping of the wet mud offers a strange, hypnotic comfort, establishing a steady, patient tempo for the eventual emergence of moving, living things. It is a brilliant sonic snapshot of a world caught in the slow, agonizingly patient process of preparing a hospitable environment for incredibly fragile biology. As the ancient geothermal heat slowly fades into the background, the expansive, breathing canopy of a fully terraformed green world begins to completely dominate the soundscape. Wind rushing through thick tree branches is preserved as a universal, undeniable signature of a world draped in a dynamic, constantly shifting atmosphere. This gentle, rushing static is the audible evidence of solar energy unevenly heating the air, creating massive pressure systems that sweep across vast forested continents. Picture the invisible, flowing currents of air made suddenly physical and audible by the chaotic rustling of millions of tiny, interconnected green leaves. This specific rushing sound cannot exist in a vacuum. It absolutely requires a dense mixture of moving gases and a complex biological structure to physically interact with. To a highly analytical alien ear, the soughing of the wind through a dense forest is undeniable proof of a breathable, meteorologically active planetary envelope. The rustling leaves also silently imply the vital, unseen existence of widespread photosynthesis, hinting at a global ecosystem built entirely on capturing the light of a local star. This constant, whispering breeze wraps continuously around the planet, carrying microscopic seeds, weather fronts, and the raw oxygen necessary to fuel energetic, freely moving creatures. It is the soft, continuous sigh of an entire vibrant biosphere, inhaling and exhaling in a perfectly balanced, deeply interconnected global respiration cycle. Abruptly, the soft atmospheric whispering is punctuated by the sharp, irregular tapping of liquid drops colliding heavily with the waiting, thirsty soil below. The rhythmic pitter-patter of rainfall brings the absolute essence of the life-giving water cycle to the completely silent, moistureless void of the interstellar medium. This intricate, random percussion tells the profound story of evaporation, condensation, and planetary gravity working together to distribute life's most critical solvent across the dry land. By analysing the audio spectrum of this passing shower, an extraterrestrial listener could detect the varying sizes of countless droplets hitting a multitude of different organic surfaces. From the deep, resonant thud of water striking soft mud to the sharp, high-pitched snap of drops hitting broad leaves, It is a complex, chaotic symphony of nourishment. This is the exact sound of a parched earth eagerly drinking, a beautifully necessary process that sustains every single green organism stretching desperately toward the sky. Allow the imaginary rhythmic patter of this ancient rain to wash away the tension in your jaw, settling your body into a state of calm, peaceful observation. The steady white noise of the continuous downpour provides a deeply soothing acoustic blanket that universally signifies growth, ecological renewal, and long-term environmental stability. To a distant listening intelligence, this wet, heavy sound confirms that our pale blue dot possesses the incredibly rare and magical gift of pooling surface liquids. As the weather clears and the local star supposedly dips below the horizon, the sonic texture shifts dramatically from weather patterns to biological-driven vocalizations. A chorus of crickets and frogs offers a serene, overwhelming nocturnal symphony gathered entirely from our planet's damp, teeming, and wildly overgrown wetlands. This vibrating, overlapping wall of organic sound represents the relentless, driving urge of terrestrial life to communicate, mate, and rapidly multiply in the dark. Pay close attention to how the individual chirps and croaks perfectly synchronize, creating a massive, pulsing acoustic entity that spans the entire available auditory field. This specific field recording captures millions of tiny, unseen creatures working together to completely dominate the twilight hours with their ancient, deeply instinctive mating songs. It is a breathtaking demonstration of acoustic ecology, where different competing species intentionally occupy distinct frequency bands to ensure their specific biological calls are clearly heard. These stridulating insects and amphibious croaking voices form a vital evolutionary bridge, brilliantly showcasing life forms that have successfully mastered the difficult transition between water and dry land. Their collective deafening hum is a permanent testament to the incredible density of life on our world, where almost no physical space is left empty or silent. It boldly sings to the wider universe of a warm, humid darkness, bursting with frantic, unseen vitality, hiding just beneath the protective cover of night. Cutting sharply through the hypnotic, steady hum of the wetlands, a much larger, highly complex mammalian voice suddenly asserts its dominant presence in the planetary chorus. Deep within the audio track, the haunting clicks and frantic calls of a wild chimpanzee echo the fascinating, highly social path of primate evolution. These sharp, highly varied vocalizations showcase a totally different level of terrestrial intelligence, highlighting a creature capable of conveying specific emotions, territorial warnings, and intimate social bonds. Feel the natural heavy weight of your own hands resting quietly, sharing a distant, undeniable biological lineage with the wild creature producing these frantic, echoing cries. The chimpanzee's hoots and piercing screams are not merely instinctive background noise, but a sophisticated, learned method of navigating the complex social hierarchies of the dense jungle canopy. They introduce the universe to the concept of a highly cooperative species that relies on intense, constant communication to survive the daily dangers of the untamed wild. By including this specific primate voice, the acoustic timeline deliberately sets the stage for the eventual, world-altering emergence of an even more talkative tool-using descendant. The chimpanzee acts as a crucial sonic anchor, perfectly representing the brilliant chaotic spark of advanced mammalian cognition, right before the true dawn of complex human language. It is a raw, unpolished voice crying out from the forest, carrying the genetic, evolutionary echoes of our closest living relatives outward into the silent stars. The untamed, purely wild sounds of the deep jungle eventually give way to a noise that perfectly straddles the blurred line between pure nature and early civilization. Wild dogs barking form a fascinating transitional sonic bridge between raw, unforgiving wilderness and the gentle, cooperative beginnings of human-animal domestication. This sharp, percussive sound carries the distinct aggressive warning of a pack hunter, yet it also holds the profound promise of future companionship and shared, cross-species survival. To an analytical, deeply logical extraterrestrial mind, these synchronized barks represent a highly successful cooperative predator species, coordinating its tactical movements across open, sweeping plains. The varied pitches and urgent, breathless rhythms of the canine voices strongly indicate a complex social structure built on fierce loyalty, territory defense, and coordinated hunting strategy. Yet, in the broader historical context of the recording, these animals beautifully hint at the very first tentative alliances formed between early humans and the dangerous natural world. This canine vocalization serves as a monumental auditory milestone, marking the exact historical point where humanity began to actively shape and alter the behavior of other species. The wild dog's call is simultaneously a fierce declaration of biological independence and a subtle, beautiful foreshadowing of the warm hearths and guarded camps to come. It perfectly encapsulates the dual, conflicting nature of an earthling, born entirely in the wild, yet constantly seeking to tame and organize the chaotic environment around them. Suddenly, all biological vocalizations cease entirely, replaced by an incredibly intimate rhythmic sound that brings the listener remarkably close to the physical, freezing surface of the world. Footsteps walking softly through deep snow leave an auditory footprint of a cold, unforgiving winter afternoon, capturing the steady forward momentum of an unseen heavy biped. The crisp, agonizingly slow crunch of freezing ice crystals breaking under heavy, deliberate weight is a breathtaking masterpiece of subtle acoustic texture. This delicate, highly specific sound conveys a profound, almost crushing sense of isolation, implying a lone traveller navigating a harsh, frozen landscape entirely devoid of other life. It forces the distant listening entity to imagine the sheer physical effort required to move a heavy biological frame through a dense, unforgiving, and freezing medium. The steady cadence of the steps reveals a stubborn, unyielding determination, a hallmark of a restless species that continuously migrates and adapts to extreme, hostile climates. Allow the quiet, steady rhythm of your own slow, resting heartbeat to seamlessly synchronize with the deliberate crunch, crunch, crunch of this solitary, frozen journey. These footsteps do not just represent a simple physical movement across frozen water. They powerfully symbolize the relentless marching progress of a restless intellect exploring its ultimate boundaries. It is a deeply poetic, almost melancholic inclusion, quietly whispering of cold survival and the profound contemplation found in an empty, winter-locked wilderness. Leaving the frozen, desolate surface behind, the acoustic journey plunges headfirst into the crushing, lightless depths of the planet's vast, salty and mysterious oceans. Gliding deep beneath the ocean surface, the mournful, incredibly complex song of a humpback whale stretches its haunting, alien melodies into the infinite watery dark. These massive, slow-moving leviathans produce an eerie, echoing sequence of moans and deep cries that can travel for hundreds of miles through the dense conductive medium. The whale song is arguably the most alien-sounding terrestrial audio on the entire record, a beautiful, repeating symphony composed entirely by a brilliant non-human aquatic intelligence. It forcefully demonstrates that the oceans of our world are not silent, dead abysses, but vibrant acoustic networks filled with ancient singing giants confidently navigating the deep. The complex grammar and constantly changing verses of their songs heavily suggest a rich, emotional inner life completely divorced from the dry, sunlit land we inhabit. This slow, reverberating underwater chorale serves as a profoundly moving, majestic finale to the biological sequence, bridging the massive gap between earthly life and cosmic scale. The immense, echoing calls of the humpback perfectly mirror the lonely, broadcasting nature of the golden probe itself as it boldly swims through the silent interstellar ocean. It is the ultimate expression of biological grandeur, a deep, resonant and heartbreaking farewell from the largest voices of our world fading slowly into the eternal silence. Breaking through that eternal silence, the very first human element to grace the record is not a grandiose musical composition, but the simple, unadorned vulnerability of a single voice. Spoken greetings in 55 different human languages carry the wildly diverse voices of Earth outward into the great echoing unknown. This staggering collection of linguistic fragments represents the ultimate auditory mosaic, instantly demonstrating that our pale blue dot is incredibly crowded with wildly different cultural perspectives. To an advanced listening intelligence, this rapid-fire sequence of completely unique phonetic structures would be an absolute treasure trove of biological data. Each distinct language acts as a sonic fingerprint, revealing the immense flexibility and staggering range of the human vocal tract. The sheer variety of trills, clicks, deep guttural stops, and airy vowels strongly implies a species that evolved in highly isolated, geographically separated pockets over tens of thousands of years. Feel the natural, relaxing weight of your jaw as you imagine the incredible physical effort required to shape breath into such vastly different, meaningful vibrations. These spoken messages are intensely brief, yet they pack centuries of rich, complex cultural history into a few fleeting seconds of recorded audio. They boldly declare that humanity is not a single, monolithic entity, but a chaotic, vibrant chorus of distinct tribes, all desperately reaching out to the dark. Deep within this dizzying linguistic montage, a ghost suddenly speaks, resurrecting a sound that had not naturally vibrated through the earthly air in millennia. Akkadian, a beautifully complex language completely extinct for thousands of years, is given a miraculous second life on the gleaming surface of the golden disk. This ancient Mesopotamian tongue, originally pressed into soft clay tablets with reed styluses, is suddenly broadcast outward across the unforgiving vacuum of interstellar space. This breathtaking resurrection serves as a profound, meta-historical message entirely separate from the actual translated meaning of the spoken words themselves. By including a dead language, the architects of the record acknowledge the incredibly fragile, deeply transient nature of human civilizations and their fleeting cultures. It proves that even on our own world, empires rise and fall, entirely forgetting the words their own ancestors once used to greet the morning sun. Surprisingly, the extraterrestrial listener might eventually decipher the chronological depth of this specific inclusion by analysing the structural evolution of the surrounding modern tongues. The Akkadian greeting transforms the record into a layered archaeological dig, showcasing the slow linguistic evolution of humanity's earliest known empires. It is a deeply poetic, mournful whisper from the very cradle of our civilization, finally achieving a form of immortality among the distant stars. Before the chaotic, beautiful rush of global languages begins, the formal introduction relies on a much more recent diplomatic construction to set a serious, unified tone. The very first greeting heard is delivered in English, spoken deliberately and slowly by the acting Secretary-General of the United Nations. This specific structural choice was a highly political attempt to present a single, organised planetary front to any potential cosmic neighbours who might be listening. If we were to look closer at the context, this formal opening was born from the deeply human need to impose order and hierarchy upon an inherently chaotic world. The United Nations representative speaks not for a single tribe, but attempts the impossible task of officially speaking for an entire, deeply divided planet. This bureaucratic preamble perfectly encapsulates the mid-20th century idealism of a world still actively recovering from the devastating trauma of global war. The stark contrast between the formal, rigid phrasing of the diplomat and the warm, colloquial greetings that follow creates a fascinating tension within the audio track. To an alien ear, this opening speech might sound unusually rigid and highly structured, completely lacking the melodic, fluid emotion found in the later everyday phrases. It stands as a fascinating artifact of human diplomacy, attempting to project planetary unity into a universe that likely does not care about our political borders. Following the stiff formal introduction, a sudden jarring shift in tone occurs, immediately cutting through the bureaucratic stiffness with pure, unguarded innocence. A child's voice softly says hello in English, adding an undeniably touching layer of innocent hope to the otherwise formal, rigid interstellar messages. This tiny, unpolished voice is a masterstroke of emotional communication, carrying a universal biological vulnerability that totally transcends the need for direct translation. Notice the distinct airy timbre of the young vocal cords, fundamentally different from the deep, resonant adults that completely dominate the rest of the linguistic track. Any advanced species that raises its own young would instantly recognize the high-pitched, fragile tone of a juvenile organism still actively learning to navigate its environment. This audio inclusion serves as a profound evolutionary declaration that we are a species that cares deeply for its fragile offspring and invests heavily in their future. Allow your chest to rise and fall softly, matching the gentle, steady breathing required to produce such a calm, completely unthreatening greeting. The child's voice acts as a powerful, disarming tactic, stripping away all aggressive planetary pretense and replacing it with pure, wide-eyed curiosity. It is the ultimate expression of our deepest, most profound hope, that whoever finally finds this golden message will approach us with the same gentle wonder. As the linguistic journey progresses into the vast populous continent of Asia, the specific nature of the chosen messages shifts toward a deep cultural hospitality. The Mandarin greeting simply translates to hoping everyone is doing well and gently inviting them to visit if they happen to have the time. This profoundly casual, incredibly friendly sentiment stands in stark, beautiful contrast to the terrifying, unfathomable distances separating the sender and the unknown listener. This structure of polite invitation reveals a fascinating psychological aspect of human social behaviour, where strangers are often reflexively treated as welcome, honoured guests. The Mandarin speaker uses a tone of calm, everyday pleasantry, as if inviting a neighbour over for tea, rather than desperately shouting into a silent, lethal void. It demonstrates a deeply ingrained cultural optimism, assuming that any spacefaring civilization must inherently possess a peaceful, curious and friendly nature. By minimizing the overwhelming, terrifying reality of interstellar travel to a simple, polite drop-in, the message highlights our profound ability to domesticate the unknown. The extraterrestrial listener might find the casual nature of the invitation deeply puzzling, given the massive energy requirements needed to cross the galactic divide. Yet, the warmth of the sentiment remains beautifully intact, perfectly capturing the welcoming spirit of a massive portion of the Earth's total human population. Continuing this theme of intimate, deeply human hospitality, another distinct linguistic offering approaches the concept of a cosmic greeting from an incredibly specific biological angle. Playfully, the Amoy language greeting asks directly if the extraterrestrial travellers have eaten yet, extending a deeply rooted cultural courtesy to the stars. This specific dialect, widely spoken across southeastern China and Taiwan, uses the shared necessity of caloric intake as the ultimate expression of care. This surprising, highly specific question brilliantly bridges the massive gap between the incredibly abstract concept of alien life and the undeniable, grounded reality of biological survival. Asking about a meal instantly acknowledges that both the sender and the receiver are likely physical beings bound by the strict laws of thermodynamics and energy consumption. It is a beautifully humble, incredibly grounded approach to first contact, ignoring grand philosophical declarations in favour of a warm, comforting bowl of food. Let the muscles around your eyes relax completely as you ponder the wonderful absurdity of offering a home-cooked meal across thousands of light-years of empty space. The Amoy greeting strips away all the technological arrogance of the space age, returning humanity to its most basic, nurturing instinct to feed a hungry traveller. It is a profoundly sweet, disarming message, proving that even as we reach for the stars, our hearts remain firmly anchored to the warm, communal dinner table. Shifting from the warm intimacy of the domestic sphere, the audio track suddenly pivots back toward the grand, sweeping arc of terrestrial history and scholarly ambition. Latin, the historical tongue of ancient scholars and a massive fallen empire, offers profound greetings to those who will supposedly exist in the far distant future. This dead, highly structured language was specifically included to represent the rigorous, intellectual foundation of Western philosophy, early science, and enduring written law. If we were to look closer, the use of Latin is a deliberate, highly self-conscious nod to our own internal sense of historical continuity and academic tradition. Unlike the resurrected Akkadian, Latin never truly vanished. It merely evolved, deeply embedding itself within the roots of countless modern, wildly successful Romance languages. The speaker's tone is authoritative and measured, perfectly projecting the weighty, serious intellectual tradition that ultimately allowed humanity to build the very rockets carrying the message. The extraterrestrial analysts would likely notice the incredibly rigid, highly predictable grammatical structure of this specific greeting, instantly marking it as a language built for complex logic. It stands as a proud sonic monument to the scholars, monks, and early scientists who painstakingly preserved human knowledge through the long, dark centuries. By speaking in Latin, we are proudly demonstrating to the universe that we are a species capable of profound, long-term memory and complex, abstract reasoning. As the chorus continues to rapidly expand, drawing from increasingly diverse geographical regions, a deeply resonant, poetic Celtic voice finally joins the interstellar fray. The Welsh greeting warmly extends good health to absolutely anyone currently inhabiting the incredibly vast, wider universe beyond our own small, rocky shores. This beautifully rolling, highly melodic language brings the misty, ancient valleys of the British Isles directly into the cold, sterile environment of deep space. Notice the distinct phonetic texture of the Welsh words, characterised by unique lateral fricatives and rolling trills that completely differentiate it from its immediate European neighbours. This inclusion vividly highlights the incredible stubbornness and resilience of minority languages, which manage to successfully survive and thrive despite immense, overwhelming cultural pressure. The greeting is a beautiful testament to the fiercely independent spirit of small, tight-knit communities clinging to their ancient, deeply rooted cultural identities. Settle your breathing into a calm, steady rhythm, mirroring the peaceful, deeply wishing nature of extending good health to a totally unknown alien entity. The Welsh speaker is not asking for knowledge or demanding cosmic attention, but simply offering a pure, completely unconditional blessing of continued survival and vitality. It is a profoundly generous, open-hearted sentiment, proving that humanity is capable of wishing well to creatures we will absolutely never meet. To accurately reflect the true, staggering demographic reality of our crowded planet, the linguistic team carefully avoided an overly Western-centric selection of voices. 4 completely different dialects of Chinese are strategically included to accurately represent a massive, deeply significant portion of the Earth's total speaking population. This deliberate, highly calculated curation ensures that the Golden Record does not merely echo a single hemisphere, but truly speaks for the vast majority of living humans. This structure of including multiple, distinct dialects of a single major language family provides an incredible, dense puzzle for any future extraterrestrial linguist attempting decryption. By comparing the subtle tonal shifts and totally different vocabulary choices across the 4 dialects, the listener can begin to map the complex evolution of human speech. It vividly demonstrates how a single ancient root language slowly fractures and beautifully adapts to vastly different regional geographies and evolving social needs. The inclusion of Wu, Cantonese, Amoy, and Mandarin creates a rich, complex auditory tapestry that absolutely dominates the Asian portion of the interstellar greeting card. It is a vital, necessary acknowledgement of the massive, bustling cities and ancient, sweeping agricultural valleys that support billions of human lives. These four distinct voices ensure that the deep, resonant heartbeat of the East is permanently, undeniably etched into the golden copper grooves. Returning to the delicate, fragile theme of youth, the sequence perfectly circles back to an intimate, highly personal contribution from the mission's own inner circle. The young son of the lead architect provided the incredibly memorable, deeply touching English message directly from the children of planet Earth. This specific recording holds an immense, heavy emotional weight as it directly connects the grand, sweeping cosmic ambition of the project to a single, deeply loved child. Surprisingly, this was not a carefully scripted, heavily rehearsed performance by a professional child actor, but a completely spontaneous, heartfelt expression captured in a single take. The slight hesitation and absolute raw sincerity in the boy's voice perfectly captures the profound, terrifying awe of reaching out to the dark, unknown void. It is the sound of an entire generation innocently handing over the massive, heavy responsibility of planetary representation to the vast, uncaring universe. Let your shoulders completely drop as you consider the overwhelming, crushing scale of this tiny, singular voice whispering directly into the infinite cosmic expanse. The child is not merely saying hello, he's actively pleading for connection, permanently etching his own fleeting, temporary youth into a medium designed to last billions of years. It is the ultimate heartbreaking paradox of the golden artifact, sending our most fragile, vulnerable sounds into the most hostile, unforgiving environment ever known. Yet, the most profound defense against that unforgiving cosmic cold is not found in the metal of the probe, but in the vibrant, creative soul of the species that launched it. Music from brilliantly diverse cultures was chosen to represent the spiritual depth of humanity, moving beyond simple greetings into the realm of pure emotional resonance. This transition marks the moment the record shifts from a directory of names to a living vessel of human feeling and artistic mastery. If we were to look closer, these rhythmic selections were not merely decorative, but were curated to showcase the immense variety of ways we interpret the universe through sound. From the densest jungles to the highest mountain peaks, each melody carries the weight of a distinct cultural history that has survived the slow grind of centuries. It is a bold, collective declaration that our fleeting existence was defined by a relentless, shared drive to create beauty from the silence of our own atmosphere. These compositions serve as the ultimate bridge between the intellect and the spirit, providing a map of our internal world to any intelligence that might encounter the disc. Surprisingly, the record suggests that while our languages may divide us, our shared capacity for rhythm and harmony serves as a universal, biological constant. By etching these melodies into gold, we have ensured that the most sophisticated expressions of our joy and sorrow will outlast the very ground from which they rose. Deep within the emerald heart of the African rainforest, a pygmy girl's initiation song brings a complex hypnotic polyphony to the silent, distant stars. This communal performance is characterized by a dense interlocking weave of voices that creates a rich, shimmering texture unlike any single melodic line. It perfectly captures the spirit of a society where individual voices are inseparable from the collective harmony of the group and the surrounding natural world. Notice how the rhythmic patterns overlap and shift, mimicking the chaotic yet perfectly balanced pulse of life found within the ancient damp forest canopy. This specific recording preserves a sacred moment of transition and growth, capturing the energy of young lives being welcomed into the deep traditions of their ancestors. To an alien listener, this vocal tapestry might sound like a biological algorithm of cooperation, demonstrating the power of synchronized effort and social cohesion. As you allow the tension to drain from your neck and shoulders, imagine the warm, humid air of the jungle vibrating with these ancient, spirited cries. The song does not merely provide entertainment, it functions as a vital sonic thread connecting the generations of a people who lived in perfect equilibrium with their environment for millennia. It is a raw, unpolished, and breathtakingly beautiful example of the human voice serving as both an instrument and a communal bond. Surprisingly, the high, rugged peaks of the Caucasus Mountains offer a completely different form of vocal transcendence through the melancholy tones of a Georgian choral piece. This specific composition showcases ancient vocal traditions that have been painstakingly passed down through countless generations of mountain-dwelling singers. The performance is defined by its haunting, dissonant harmonies and a three-part polyphonic structure that feels both grounded in the earth and reaching for the sky. This structure of sound reflects a landscape of stark beauty and deep historical resilience, where the human voice was the primary tool for preserving the stories of the past. The singers utilize a unique technique of sliding between notes, creating a shimmering, ethereal tension that resonates with the profound weight of human experience. It is a somber, deeply moving testament to the ability of music to carry the collective sorrow and triumph of a people through the long corridors of time. If we were to look closer at the arrangement, we would see how each voice supports and challenges the others, creating a complex sonic architecture of mutual reliance. This Georgian masterpiece stands as a proud representative of the world's oldest polyphonic traditions, asserting that human creativity is often at its most potent when it is born of isolation and hardship. It sails through the void as a dark, resonant jewel, echoing the somber dignity of a civilization that refused to let its ancient songs go silent. If we were to look closer at the arid, sweeping landscapes of North America, a Navajo night chant preserves the steady spiritual rhythm of indigenous healing ceremonies. This sacred performance is characterized by a low, rhythmic pulsing that mimics the steady, unwavering heartbeat of the earth itself. It is a profound, meditative exercise in restoring balance to the individual and the community, using the power of repeated sound to align the spirit with the natural order. This specific chant serves as a vital bridge between the physical world and the intangible realm of the ancestors and the holy people. The steady, percussive repetition creates a hypnotic space where time seems to dissolve, allowing the listener to sink into a state of deep, restorative contemplation. It is an ancient technology of the soul, using the vibrations of the human throat to heal the fractures caused by the chaos of daily life. Allow your resting body to feel the gentle, rhythmic pulse of your own steady breathing as it synchronizes with the ancient cadence of the desert night. This recording is a rare, preserved fragment of a spiritual tradition that views the entire universe as a living, interconnected web of energy and sound. By including the Navajo chant, the Golden Record offers the cosmos a lesson in harmony, showing that humanity once knew how to walk in beauty upon the face of the world. This structure of human celebration finds its most driving, joyful expression in the high Andes through the vibrant beat of a Peruvian wedding song. The track captures the universal celebration of human union, using the bright, rapid-fire melodies of local instruments to convey a sense of unbridled optimism. It is a festive, communal explosion of sound that stands in stark contrast to the lonely, silent vacuum through which the probe currently travels. Notice the relentless, dancing rhythm that seems to propel the music forward with an infectious, life-affirming energy that transcends any cultural boundary. This recording brings the warmth of a crowded, sun-drenched village square into the freezing, lightless environment of the interstellar medium. It serves as a reminder that despite our many differences, the impulse to celebrate love and the formation of new families is a fundamental global human constant. The driving percussion and melodic flourishes evoke a picture of a world where music is not just a performance, but the very fabric of social interaction and joy. This Peruvian wedding song acts as a radiant sonic flare, broadcasting the sheer exuberant vitality of human life to anyone who might be watching from the shadows. It is a brief, glowing moment of pure terrestrial happiness, forever preserved in the golden grooves as a testament to our capacity for shared celebration. A sharp, breathy contrast emerges from the mist-shrouded islands of the east in a traditional Japanese shakuhachi piece, depicting the movements of nesting cranes. This meditative woodwind solo offers a profound moment of tranquility, utilizing the natural imperfections of the bamboo flute to mimic the sounds of the wild. The performer uses a technique called mura-iki, or breathy sound, to evoke the rustling of feathers and the sharp cries of birds in a quiet, isolated wetland. Surprisingly, the music does not follow a standard Western scale, but instead flows with a fluid, natural timing that reflects the unpredictable rhythms of nature. This piece, titled Tsuru no Sugomori, is a masterclass in the use of silence and space, where the gaps between the notes are just as important as the sounds themselves. It conveys a deep sense of Zen-like focus, inviting the listener to observe the delicate, fleeting beauty of a life cycle that has remained unchanged for millions of years. As you feel the cool air entering your lungs, imagine the stillness of a winter morning where the only sound is the distant, haunting call of a bird through the fog. The shakuhachi represents the human ability to strip away the noise of civilization and return to a state of pure, unadorned observation of the living world. It is a quiet, breath-driven masterpiece that offers the universe a glimpse into the most contemplative and peaceful corners of the human mind. The resonant, earthy twang of an Australian Aboriginal horn transports the listener straight to the dusty, sun-baked outback of a prehistoric continent. This instrument, one of the oldest continuous musical traditions on the planet, produces a deep, vibrating drone that seems to emerge directly from the ancient bedrock. It utilizes a technique of circular breathing that allows the player to maintain a constant, unbroken wall of sound for incredible lengths of time. If we were to look closer at the acoustic signature of this drone, we would find a rich tapestry of overtones that mimic the buzzing of insects and the low growl of distant thunder. This music is not merely a collection of notes, but a sonic map of the dream time, connecting the living people to the spirits and the physical features of the landscape. It is a profound, rhythmic grounding that asserts a deep spiritual ownership over a world that is millions of years older than any human civilization. Settle the weight of your limbs into a state of absolute stillness, feeling the subtle, low-frequency vibrations of the world around you. This Australian recording represents the enduring connection between a people and their land, a relationship built on tens of thousands of years of careful observation and sacred storytelling. It is a raw, powerful voice from the very dawn of human history, continuing its steady, unbroken hum across the vast, empty distances of the galactic void. Deep within the spiritual architecture of the Indian subcontinent, a solemn raga features the ethereal, sliding microtones of a beautifully crafted surbahar. This large, bass-toned stringed instrument allows the performer to stretch and bend individual notes, creating a fluid, vocal-like quality that captures the subtle nuances of human emotion. The raga is not a static composition, but a living, breathing framework for improvisation that reflects the specific mood of a particular time of day. This structure of music is designed to lead the listener on a journey from quiet, introspective contemplation to a state of intense, complex rhythmic resolution. The sliding notes, or miend, create a sense of longing and spiritual searching that feels as vast and deep as the cosmos itself. It is a sophisticated, highly mathematical system of beauty that demonstrates the incredible intellectual and emotional range of the human artistic tradition. If we were to look closer, we would see how the resonant strings of the surbahar create a shimmering, sympathetic vibration that fills the entire acoustic space with a warm, golden glow. This Indian masterpiece is a gift of pure, refined melody to the stars, showcasing a culture that found a way to translate the infinite complexity of the soul into a single, vibrating string. It sails onward as a testament to our search for meaning, wrapped in the elegant mathematical precision of an ancient musical science. Surprisingly, the universe might find a familiar biological echo in the breathy melodies of the Solomon Islands, where panpipes weave a delicate tapestry of sound. These instruments are played in large, coordinated ensembles, with each musician contributing a specific set of notes to the overall interlocking melody. The result is a light, airy music that sounds remarkably like the complex, overlapping calls of a flock of tropical birds gathered in a sun-drenched grove. Notice how the different pipes call and respond to one another, creating a sense of playful social interaction that is both communal and deeply rooted in the natural world. This music reflects the archipelago's lush, vibrant environment, where the boundaries between human creativity and the sounds of the jungle are beautifully blurred. It is a breath-driven symphony of the islands, capturing the essence of a society that finds its greatest strength in the seamless coordination of many individual parts. The panpipes produce a sound that is both primitive and highly sophisticated, relying on the physics of vibrating air columns to create a haunting, hollow timbre. This recording offers a glimpse into a world of hidden lagoons and dense green mountains, where the wind itself seems to be shaped into a gentle melodic language. It stands as a peaceful, airy envoy from the Pacific, carrying the soft, avian-like music of a distant paradise into the cold, silent theatre of the stars. The final, intricate masterpiece of this cultural journey resides in the 7 strings of a traditional Chinese zither, known as the guqin. An ancient piece called Flowing Streams uses the sharp, precise pluck of silk strings to flawlessly mimic the sound of cascading water moving through a rocky mountain pass. The performer utilizes a vast array of techniques, including harmonics and slides, to recreate the gurgling of brooks, the roar of waterfalls, and the quiet drip of melting ice. If we were to look closer, we would see that this music is a profound meditation on the nature of change and the eternal, fluid movement of the natural world. This specific composition, Liu Shui, is one of the most revered pieces in the Chinese tradition, representing the highest ideal of an artist becoming one with the subject they are depicting. It is a stunning display of kinesthetic grace and intellectual depth, where every single vibration is a deliberate, carefully considered choice. As the final, resonant notes of the guqin fade into the darkness, they leave behind a sense of profound, watery clarity and ancient scholarly wisdom. This piece serves as the perfect culmination of the cultural rhythm, bridging the gap between the chaotic energy of life and the silent, eternal laws of physics. It is the sound of humanity finally finding its voice within the grand, flowing currents of the universe, offering a last, shimmering pluck of gold to the infinite night. That infinite night is now pierced by the orderly, soaring logic of a trio of compositions that serve as the ultimate testament to human mathematical and musical genius. These works, including the Brandenburg Concerto and the Gavotte Rondo, were selected because they represent a peak of structural perfection and polyphonic complexity. By weaving multiple independent melodic lines into a single cohesive whole, the composer demonstrated a level of intellectual organization that transcends the boundaries of terrestrial culture. Deep within these Baroque masterpieces lies a profound sense of symmetry and balance that mirrors the very laws of physics governing the stars. Each note functions as a precise variable in a grand equation of beauty, offering a map of our ability to find order within the chaotic vibrations of the atmosphere. To an extraterrestrial intelligence, this music might be perceived as a sophisticated binary code of emotion, proving that our species mastered the art of translating logical patterns into transcendent spiritual experiences. The inclusion of these specific pieces ensures that the most rigorous and refined expressions of the human spirit are permanently etched into the golden copper. As the record spins through the lightless void, the ghost of this German master continues to broadcast a message of supreme intellectual clarity. It is a brilliant, shimmering display of what the human mind can achieve when it applies the precision of mathematics to the raw material of sound. Surprisingly, the heavy, oppressive silence of the interstellar medium is suddenly shattered by the soaring, triumphant notes of the Fifth Symphony. This iconic composition begins with a four-note motif that is often described as fate knocking at the door, a sound of unyielding human determination. It crashes abruptly through the void, carrying the immense weight of our species' struggle, defiance, and eventual victory over the most daunting obstacles of existence. This structure of sound is characterized by a relentless, driving energy that propels the listener toward a state of grand, orchestral resolution. The brass and strings work in a powerful, unified surge to create a visceral experience of triumph that requires no linguistic translation to be felt. It represents a moment where the human spirit refuses to be small, casting its bold, resonant shadow across the vast distances of the galactic theatre. If we were to look closer at the emotional architecture of this piece, we would find a profound narrative of personal and collective transformation. The music does not merely exist to be heard, it exists to inspire a sense of awe and unstoppable forward momentum. By sending this symphony into the deep future, we have gifted the universe a sonic monument to the courage required to face the unknown with a raised chin and a steady heart. This structure of sound encountered a fierce, unexpected resistance during the final selection phase, as committee members debated the inclusion of modern popular music. Surprisingly, the decision to feature rock and roll was seen by some as too youthful, or potentially offensive to the more traditional sensibilities of an unknown alien race. However, the advocates for Johnny B. Good argued that to exclude this vibrant electric energy would be to lie about the true pulsating heart of the 20th century. The driving, syncopated rhythm and the sharp, bright twang of the electric guitar capture a uniquely human sense of restless, rebellious vitality. It is the sound of the electric age, representing the high-speed, high-energy transition of a global society fueled by new technologies and a yearning for social liberation. Notice how the music demands a physical response, a rhythmic tapping of the feet or a swaying of the hips that is common to listeners across all terrestrial borders. Allow the weight of your resting body to sink into a state of relaxed awareness as the infectious, driving beat of the guitar takes hold. This inclusion was a bold, democratic statement, asserting that the joy of the dance floor is just as representative of our genius as the complexity of the concert hall. By etching this track into gold, we ensured that the raw, exuberant spark of human youth would scream across the stars for billions of years. If we were to look closer at the sheer physical capability of the human throat, the Queen of the Night aria pushes the voice to dizzying, starlit heights. This operatic masterpiece from the magic flute requires the soprano to execute rapid-fire, high-pitched staccato notes that mimic the sharp, cold brilliance of a celestial object. It is a stunning display of kinesthetic control and athletic vocal precision, demonstrating the absolute upper limits of our biological instruments. To a listener in the far future, this voice might sound like a sophisticated biological signal, a high-frequency broadcast of complex emotional information. It represents a culture that found a way to use the very breath of life to create a sound that is both terrifying and beautiful. By including this aria, the record carries the crystalline peak of human vocal achievement into the silent reaches of the great dark ocean between suns. Deep within the grooves, a gravelly, wordless hum emerges to wordlessly convey the most profound depths of human sorrow and crushing isolation. Dark Was the Night, Cold Was the Ground is a blues masterpiece that relies entirely on the raw slide guitar technique and a mournful, humming vocal to tell a story of abandonment. It captures the universal experience of being alone in a vast, uncaring world, a feeling that resonates deeply with the lone, travelling probe itself. This structure of music is stripped of all artifice, leaving only the honest, vibrating soul of a man who experienced the harsh realities of the early 20th century American South. The slide guitar mimics the sound of a human crying, a weeping melody that stretches across the empty space with an almost unbearable emotional weight. It is a somber, beautiful reminder that our species is defined not just by our triumphs, but by our profound capacity to endure and express pain. Surprisingly, the committee selected this piece because it felt like a mirror to the very condition of the spacecraft. A small, solitary object wandering through a cold, dark wilderness. The song offers a sense of companionship in the silence, a shared acknowledgement of the difficulty of existence. By sending this mournful hum into the stars, we have shared our most intimate, private sorrows with the infinite, ensuring that even in our loneliness, we are never truly silent. Notice the loose, swinging cadence of a trumpet that carries the soulful, improvisational essence of jazz music into the great beckoning beyond. Melancholy Blues is a brilliant example of a musical tradition built on the freedom of the individual within a tightly coordinated collective. The lead instrument weaves a fluid, spontaneous melody that feels as natural as conversation, yet is grounded in a sophisticated understanding of harmony and rhythm. This recording captures the unique, warm timbre of the human spirit when it's allowed to play, experiment, and find beauty in the moment. The trumpet's brassy voice slides and growls with a distinct human personality that is impossible to replicate through mechanical means. It represents a culture of resilience and creative spark, where the blues were transformed into a vibrant, swinging celebration of life's messy, unpredictable nature. Let your resting hands soften and your jaw relax completely as the gentle, rhythmic sway of the jazz ensemble fills the space. This music is a testament to our ability to find a rhythmic home, even in the face of uncertainty and hardship. By including this track, the Golden Record carries the smoky, late-night atmosphere of a New Orleans club to the distant, frozen reaches of the galaxy. The rhythmic, pounding precision of a modern orchestral masterpiece captures the chaotic, primal beauty of a species that was beginning to master its own industrial power. The Rite of Spring is a jarring, revolutionary composition that utilizes complex, irregular time signatures and dissonant harmonies to evoke a sense of raw, elemental force. It represents the dawn of the 20th century, a time of massive social upheaval and a new, aggressive artistic vision that discarded the comforts of the past. If we were to look closer at the percussion-heavy arrangement, we would see a sonic representation of the machine age and the violent, life-giving rhythms of nature combined into one. The music does not seek to soothe, but to provoke, challenge, and ultimately awaken the listener to the wild, untamed energy that still pulses beneath the surface of civilization. It is a stunning display of orchestral virtuosity, pushing a massive ensemble of human players to the very edge of their physical and mental endurance. This structure of sound serves as a warning and a celebration, acknowledging the dangerous creative fire that drives our progress. To an alien mind, this music might be the most accurate reflection of our modern history, a turbulent and powerful surge toward an unknown future. By etching this chaotic beauty into the gold, we have sent a message of our own restless, unstoppable evolution into the heart of the eternal dark. A legendary performance was specifically selected for its crystalline, analytical focus and unparalleled mathematical clarity, providing a perfect sonic blueprint of the human intellect. The interpretation of the well-tempered clavier included on the disc was chosen because of the pianist's unique ability to separate and clarify every single independent voice within a complex fugue. The notes emerge with a startling clockwork precision that makes the underlying logic of the composition as visible as a geometric diagram. Surprisingly, the performance is almost devoid of traditional romantic sentiment, favouring a cold, bracing transparency that highlights the sheer genius of the structural design. Each keystroke is a deliberate, highly calculated event, demonstrating a level of mental discipline and technical mastery that borders on the superhuman. This recording serves as a bridge between art and science, proving that the human brain can navigate the most intricate and demanding logical puzzles with a sense of playful ease. Feel the stillness in your own body as you contemplate the incredible, high-speed coordination required to translate these complex patterns into a living, breathing sound. This specific track offers the universe a map of our cognitive potential, showcasing our ability to find absolute clarity within a dense, multi-layered environment. It is a perfect, shining example of human thought made audible, sailing through the void as a masterpiece of pure, unadulterated reason. Festive brass and bright, cascading string melodies add a burst of sun-drenched communal energy to the Interstellar playlist through a lively mariachi performance. This music represents the vibrant, festive heart of its region and the deep cultural importance of the shared public square. It is characterized by its high energy, rapid-fire rhythms and the distinctive, joyful shouting of the performers, which carries a sense of unbridled social connection. This structure of sound is a brilliant display of cultural pride and the human capacity for collective, uninhibited joy. The trumpets and violins engage in a spirited melodic dialogue that seems to dance across the listener's ears, creating an atmosphere of warmth and hospitality that is universally recognizable. It is a sonic explosion of terrestrial light, broadcasting the colourful, rhythmic traditions of a people who have long mastered the art of celebrating the beauty of existence. Notice how the music seems to physically expand the space around it, filling the cold, empty reaches of the cosmos with the warmth of a human festival. This inclusion ensures that the Golden Record is not just a library of high art, but a living, breathing party that invites the universe to join in the dance. By sending the mariachi to the stars, we have shared the most vibrant and welcoming aspects of our global village with the infinite night. Exhausting, emotionally charged listening sessions dominated the final days of the project, as the committee members passionately debated the true weight of every single note. These brilliant thinkers, tasked with representing a whole planet, often found themselves in deep conflict over which musical masterpieces truly captured the essence of the human spirit. They understood that their final choices would become the permanent interstellar legacy of our world, a responsibility that felt both sacred and overwhelmingly heavy. If we were to look closer at these debates, we would find a group of humans struggling with the impossible task of defining their own species within a 90-minute time frame. They worried about the balance of cultures, the representation of history, and the emotional message that each piece would send to a potentially vastly different intelligence. The selection process was a profound exercise in self-reflection, forcing the committee to confront the best and worst aspects of our creative history. The final playlist is not just a collection of great music, but a testament to the immense, agonizing care that went into the act of self-presentation. Every track on the golden disc is there because a group of humans believed it was worth the gold it was etched into. It is a record born of intense love, intellectual rigour, and a desperate hope that our most beautiful sounds would find a home among the stars. The desperate hope that our visual world could be shared with the stars led to a miraculous feat of engineering, where 115 images were encoded directly into the analogue grooves of the copper disc. By transforming vibrant light and complex shadows into specific, decipherable sound waves, the creators ensured that our most vital visual memories could travel alongside our music. This ingenious process essentially turns the record into a high-fidelity time capsule of sight, where every chirp and whistle of the playback carries the hidden potential of a photograph. If we were to look closer at the physics of this encoding, we would find that each image is composed of 512 vertical lines, a resolution designed to balance clarity with the physical limitations of the medium. An extraterrestrial intelligence would need to perceive these fluctuations in frequency, as a map of luminosity, reassembling the data point by point to reveal the faces and landscapes of a distant home. This conversion of the visual into the auditory is a profound testament to our belief that the fundamental properties of waves are a universal language shared by all thinking beings. Surprisingly, the first visual message intended for the eye of an unknown observer is not a complex scene of human life, but a statement of absolute geometric perfection. The very first image to emerge from the analog static is a simple, perfect circle, serving as a vital calibration test for any alien display mechanism that might attempt to read the disk. This elementary shape provides an immediate universal reference point, allowing the finder to adjust the height, width, and contrast of their projection until the circle is no longer distorted. Without this geometric anchor, the subsequent images of our biology and architecture might appear stretched or unrecognizable, losing the delicate proportions that define our reality. It is a humble but essential handshake of logic, establishing a shared understanding of space and form before the more intricate stories of our world begin to unfold. This circle acts as the final key to the visual vault of humanity, a silent promise that the laws of geometry are constant in every corner of the vast swirling galaxy. This cosmic structure of information soon expands into a detailed diagram of the solar system, providing our definitive return address within the immense suburbs of the Milky Way. The image carefully outlines our celestial neighbourhood, marking the precise planetary distances from the central sun using a scale that is independent of human units, like miles or kilometres. By illustrating the relative positions of the planets and the specific path of the Voyager probe, we have provided any potential traveller with a map back to the warm, yellow star where we first learned to look upward. As you feel the gentle, rhythmic weight of your own breathing, consider the immense distance between our small, rocky home and the lightless void where the probe now sails. This diagram serves as a vital piece of navigation, intended to show exactly where we originated within the swirling local cluster of gas and ancient dust. It is our ultimate message in a bottle, pointing back through the dark toward the specific cradle of gravity that nurtured the very existence of our species. Deep within the foundation of this interstellar message, the creators realized they must first define the very ingredients of physical existence before explaining the complexities of life. Chemical definitions are provided using a series of simple, elegant dots to represent protons and neutrons, establishing a universal scientific language from the ground up without the need for terrestrial words. This method allows an alien chemist to recognize the elemental building blocks of our world, such as hydrogen and carbon, by simply counting the subatomic particles illustrated on the screen. By starting with the most basic particles of matter, the record creates a shared dictionary of reality that transcends the need for any cultural or linguistic translation. It assumes that the laws of chemistry and the structure of the atom are the same in every sun system, throughout the infinite reach of space. This fundamental grounding ensures that the subsequent images of biology are understood not as mysterious artifacts, but as the logical result of sophisticated atomic organization over billions of years. If we were to look closer at the biological section of the gallery, we would find a silhouette of a male and female human presented in a moment of absolute clinical clarity. Alongside these figures, a detailed diagram explains the complex mechanics of human reproduction, showing exactly how our species ensures its own continuation through the passing eons. It is a bold and honest depiction of our physical forms, stripped of all clothing and cultural ornament to reveal the underlying architecture of the human body to a distant viewer. This section of the disc acts as a biological manual, providing a literal face to the voices heard elsewhere, while explaining the cycle of life that has sustained our civilization for countless generations. The silhouettes showcase the symmetry and proportions that define our species, offering a blueprint of our physical identity to the stars with a sense of quiet dignity. It tells the story of how we come to be, ensuring that our biological nature is understood as a natural, healthy expression of planetary life. Notice how the narrative shifts from the external form of our bodies into the microscopic realm to reveal the twisting, elegant structure of DNA. This double helix diagram was carefully illustrated to explain the fundamental biological code that dictates every characteristic of life on our planet, from the intricate colour of an eye to the steady beat of a heart. It is a masterpiece of information density, showing how a single, spiralling molecule can store the vast complexity of an entire biosphere within its chemical rungs. Take a moment to allow your hands to rest completely still, sensing the quiet, invisible work of the trillions of genetic instructions currently maintaining your own life. To an extraterrestrial geneticist, this image would be instantly recognizable as the signature of a carbon-based, evolving world that has mastered its own molecular language. It bridges the gap between the physical human body and the chemical principles established earlier, revealing the very engine of our evolution and the common thread of all terrestrial life. Surprisingly, the record also captures the relentless and invisible process of growth that powers every living thing on our world through microscopic views of cells dividing. This sequence of images demonstrates the stages of mitosis in action, showing how a single unit of life replicates its own blueprint to build the complex structures of plants and animals. It is a silent, pulsing testament to the regenerative energy that has kept our world vibrant and green for billions of years, despite the constant threat of decay. The detail captured in these images highlights our sophisticated understanding of the building blocks of life and our ability to peer into the very heart of the microscopic world. It shows that we have discovered the mechanisms of our own creation, sharing the most fundamental rhythm of earthly biology with the eternal silence of the void. By including mitosis in the gallery, we are offering a message of hope and continuity, proving that life is defined by its stubborn, unceasing drive to expand and multiply. This cosmic journey does not only focus on grand scientific principles or the peaks of high art, but also pauses to capture the mundane, daily reality of human food gathering. A photograph of a woman in a supermarket perfectly illustrates how our species has organised its local environment to provide for its most basic survival needs with remarkable efficiency. This single image conveys a wealth of information about our architecture, our social organisation, and our peaceful relationship with the abundant resources of the Earth in the modern age. It shows a world of bright lights and organised shelves, revealing a civilization that has moved beyond the wild hunt toward a state of calm, communal distribution of nourishment. For a distant observer, this picture might be the most relatable glimpse into the actual experience of living as a human during the time of the probe's launch. The snapshot is a testament to the order and quiet dignity that many people achieved in their daily lives, representing the backbone of our global society. Deep within the geological record of our home, the majestic snow-capped peak of Mount Everest stands as a demonstration of the severe extremes of our planetary environment. This image of the highest point on our world shows the incredible power of tectonic forces that push the very crust of the Earth into the thin, freezing air of the upper atmosphere. The vast, jagged peaks and the swirling clouds surrounding the summit convey a sense of the formidable landscapes that human beings have both feared and eventually conquered. As you feel the solid support of the surface beneath you, contemplate the massive, ancient stones that form the bedrock of our existence. Everest represents the physical limits of our world, a place where the Earth meets the sky in a jagged, frozen embrace of absolute silence. By sharing this image, we are showing the universe the magnificent, terrifying beauty of the geological home that shaped our very souls and our sense of ambition. If we were to look closer at the final images of this visual odyssey, we would find a celebration of the human form through athletes caught in moments of sudden explosive motion. These pictures highlight the impressive physical capabilities and kinesthetic grace of our bodies, showing the incredible coordination of muscle and bone required to leap, run, and throw. It demonstrates that we are far more than just thinking machines or static biological blueprints, but creatures of action who find joy in the mastery of movement. The images convey a sense of kinetic energy and the relentless pursuit of physical excellence that remains a hallmark of the human spirit throughout our long history. As the final lines of the visual section emerge from the analog static, they leave behind an impression of a species that is both fragile and remarkably powerful in its physical expression. In the silence of the void, these frozen moments of motion continue to pulse with the vibrant energy of a living world, serving as a final, graceful signature to the stars. This graceful signature to the stars finds its terrestrial roots in the staggering monumental scale of ancient human construction, most vividly seen in the aerial view of the Great Wall of China. Pictured from afar, this ancient barrier snaking across the jagged ridges and misty valleys of the earth demonstrates the incredible patience and collective will of our ancestors. It appears almost as a natural geological feature, yet its rhythmic watchtowers and precise masonry reveal the unmistakable design of an organized, persistent species. Deep within the grain of the analog photograph, the wall serves as a silent history of defense and unity, etched into the rugged terrain of a continent to withstand the slow erosion of centuries. This structure was built by millions of hands moving mountains of earth and brick, long before the age of electricity or heavy machinery. By sharing this perspective, we allow an unknown observer to marvel at the sheer scale of human effort required to mark the face of a planet so permanently. Surprisingly, this massive undertaking highlights our ability to think in timescales that span generations, a trait that allowed us to eventually reach for the cosmos. It stands as a profound monument to our desire for security and the preservation of our cultural boundaries against the shifting tides of history. This stone sinew remains one of the most visible signs of our presence on the globe, a physical manifestation of a civilization that refuses to be erased. The ancient stone defences of our past eventually gave way to the soaring, sail-like curves of the Sydney Opera House, a masterpiece of modern architectural ambition and aesthetic brilliance. This photograph highlights a critical transition in our development, where we moved beyond building for mere survival to building for the pure resonance of the creative spirit. The gleaming white shells of the structure stand in bold defiance of the wind, capturing a moment where human engineering reached for the elegance of a breaking wave. If we were to look closer at the geometry, we would find a complex series of intersecting spheres that challenge the very limits of construction technology in the middle of the 20th century. This building serves as a vibrant coastal beacon of our desire to house the arts in a space as breathtaking as the performances themselves. It is a graceful signature of a culture that values the beauty of form and the pursuit of artistic perfection as essential components of the human experience. Notice how the light reflects off the thousands of ceramic tiles, creating a shimmering effect that changes with the movement of the local sun. This landmark is more than a concert hall. It is a symbol of our ability to transform a functional space into a spiritual experience through the power of design. It broadcasts a message of optimism and cultural maturity to the stars, proving that our species finds its highest meaning in the creation of shared beauty. This structure of grace is abruptly replaced by the dense, arterial networks of highways jammed with cars during the peak of rush hour, revealing the unceasing pulse of our modern mobility. These images depict the complex and highly interconnected nature of human transit, where millions of individuals move in a synchronized mechanical flow across the landscape. The glowing ribbons of headlights and tail lights form a literal metabolic stream of civilization, revealing the energy required to sustain a truly globalized society. Notice how the rigid lines of the asphalt cut through the natural topography, creating a secondary geography dedicated entirely to the speed and efficiency of the machine. It is a vivid portrait of a species that has effectively shrunk its world through the power of internal combustion and a massive infrastructure of steel and concrete. To a distant viewer, These congested paths represent the frantic, buzzing energy of a world that never truly sleeps, constantly migrating between the centres of its activity. Take a slow, deep breath and feel the steady rhythm of your own heart, a living pulse that remains calm even as the world around it moves in a frantic blur. This network of roads is the nervous system of our physical economy, allowing for the rapid exchange of goods, ideas, and people across vast distances. It demonstrates our mastery over the geography of our home, proving that we have built a world where no two points are truly isolated from one another. A picture of a massive radio telescope serves as a clever meta-reference to our ongoing and deeply curious attempts to communicate with the silent stars. This steel ear, turned perpetually toward the heavens, represents the very technological lineage that allowed the Voyager probe to be conceived and launched into the dark. It illustrates a species that has moved beyond the concerns of the terrestrial plane to actively listening for the faint whispered signals of a larger cosmic community. If we were to look closer at the dish's curvature, we would see a perfect parabolic surface designed to catch and focus the most distant and ancient photons in existence. This image is a profound acknowledgement of our own searching nature, proving that we have spent generations looking for answers in the depths of space. It stands as a bridge between the physical world we have constructed and the invisible, electromagnetic reality that we are only just beginning to understand and map. Surprisingly, this instrument is as much a symbol of our humility as it is of our technological prowess. It shows that we recognize our own smallness within the vastness of the galaxy and are eager to bridge the gap through the medium of science. This radio telescope is our silent sentinel, a testament to the fact that we have never stopped reaching out for a connection with the unknown. The printed page of a book is shown in sharp detail to illustrate our primary and most enduring method of storing complex knowledge outside the fragile biological brain. This photograph captures the revolutionary invention of movable type and the subsequent explosion of literacy that allowed our civilization to progress at an exponential rate. By freezing a sequence of symbols onto a flat surface, we found a way to speak across the boundaries of time and death to generations yet unborn. Deep within the lines of text, one can see the meticulously organized symbols that encode our laws, our stories, and our most rigorous scientific discoveries. This image serves as a manual for our intellectual heritage, showing that we are a species that values the preservation of thought as much as the preservation of life. It is the ultimate testament to our ability to externalize our memory, ensuring that no discovery is ever truly lost to the slow erosion of time. Allow your hands to rest softly at your sides, feeling the subtle, resting energy of your own body as you contemplate the quiet power of a single page. This technology allowed for the democratization of information, turning the private thoughts of a few into the collective knowledge of the many. It is the silent engine of our progress, a simple yet profound tool that allows the wisdom of the past to guide the innovations of the future. A thunderous space launch is captured in a single, awe-inspiring photograph, proudly representing humanity's first tentative and courageous steps off the home planet. The massive plumes of fire and smoke billowing from the base of the rocket illustrate the sheer chemical power required to break the heavy, invisible chains of gravity. It is a moment of supreme technological defiance, showing a species that has finally learned to build its own stars to carry its dreams into the vacuum. Surprisingly, this image captures the exact threshold between the familiar comforts of the atmosphere and the terrifying, infinite possibilities of the interstellar medium. The rocket stands as a pillar of white fire against the sky, a mechanical extension of our will to explore and understand the vastness that surrounds us. It is the visual record of a transition that changed our perspective forever, marking the dawn of our identity as a truly spacefaring civilization. Notice the raw energy radiating from the core of the machine, a force so great that it shakes the very ground from which it departs. This launch is the culmination of centuries of scientific inquiry, and the collective labour of thousands of dedicated minds. It serves as a bold, flaming signature written across the heavens, announcing to the universe that the children of Earth have finally arrived. The Golden Gate Bridge is included in the gallery as a prime and elegant example of engineering gracefully conquering the most daunting of natural obstacles. This photograph shows the massive towers rising through the thick swirling fog of a coastal strait, holding aloft a suspended roadway with delicate threads of steel. It captures a moment where human ingenuity achieved a state of perfect, harmonious balance between the violent tides of the ocean and the requirements of commerce. If we were to look closer at the suspension cables, we would see a masterpiece of tension and strength that allows the structure to sway and breathe with the movement of the wind. This bridge is more than just a transit route. It is a symbol of our ability to build connections across the most treacherous gaps in our geography. It stands as a soaring aesthetic achievement that proves we can impose our own vision of order and beauty upon the wild, shifting currents of the world. Let your resting body find a sense of stillness and solid ground, mirroring the unwavering stability of this massive steel sentinel. The bridge connects two worlds, bridging the gap between the untamed wilderness and the bustling heart of a modern city. It is a testament to our persistence, a monument to the fact that no obstacle is too great for a mind that is determined to find a way across. An image of a string quartet in rehearsal demonstrates the highly collaborative and deeply disciplined nature of the human artistic endeavour. This photograph captures four individuals lost in the intricate process of creating a single, unified sound through the synchronization of their physical movements and emotional intent. It reveals a level of social cooperation that is just as vital to our survival as the construction of massive infrastructure or the launching of complex machines. Notice the intense focus in their eyes and the precise positioning of their hands, showing the years of practice required to master these subtle vibrations of wood and horsehair. This scene illustrates a culture that finds its highest meaning in the shared experience of beauty and the pursuit of collective musical perfection. To a distant listener, this image provides the vital visual context for the complex, layered harmonies that are heard elsewhere on the golden disc. Take a moment to allow your jaw to relax completely, feeling the quiet, rhythmic pulse of your own steady breathing in this moment of observation. The quartet is a miniature model of a healthy society, where individual excellence is harnessed for the greater good of a harmonious whole. It represents the intimacy and the vulnerability of our creative process, showing that our greatest achievements are often the result of working together in perfect resonance. The massive Arecibo Observatory image underscores our active and searching curiosity for cosmic companions by showcasing one of the most powerful scientific instruments ever built. This enormous spherical reflector nestled in a natural mountain sinkhole was designed to both listen to the whispers of the universe and broadcast our own presence to the stars. It represents a monumental investment in the hope that we're not alone, a physical manifestation of our collective desire to find a neighbour in the dark. Deep within the structure of the suspended platform, one can see the incredible complexity required to focus the faint signals of pulsars and distant ancient galaxies. This image is a profound statement of our priorities, showing that we have dedicated vast resources to the study of things that have no immediate utility for our physical survival. It is a testament to the purity of our scientific wonder, a giant eye turned forever toward the infinite possibilities of the great beyond. Surprisingly, this structure was used to send a specific coded message toward a star cluster 25,000 light-years away, a bold shout into the cosmic night. It shows that we are not content to merely wait for a signal, but are willing to take the first step toward a potential conversation. This observatory is a monument to our bravery, a sign that we are ready to listen to whatever the universe has to say. A bustling airport terminal reveals the frenetic and unceasing pace of a truly modern, globalized society where time and space have been effectively conquered by the machine. This photograph captures a cross-section of humanity in transit, a blurred river of people from every corner of the Earth moving through a temple of glass and steel. It depicts a world that is intensely interconnected, where the far reaches of the planet are separated by only a few short hours of flight. The sharp, metallic hum of a commercial airplane engine lifting a heavy steel chassis into the sky serves as the constant soundtrack to this high-speed gateway. Surprisingly, the image conveys a sense of both chaotic movement and highly organised flow, illustrating the complex logistics required to sustain our nomadic modern lifestyle. This terminal is the ultimate pulse of our civilization, a place where the diverse threads of our global family are woven into a single temporary tapestry of motion. Notice the departure boards listing names of cities from across the globe, a list of destinations that were once months of travel away, but are now just a ticket away. It is the final, vibrant portrait of a species that is always looking toward the horizon, ready to board the next vessel and fly toward the unknown. This terminal is the doorway to the world, a testament to our restless spirit and our unyielding desire to explore every corner of the sky. This unyielding desire to explore every corner of the sky led the architects of the mission to hide a final, intimate dedication deep within the physical material of the artifact itself. The faint, scratching whisper of a metal stylus passing over microscopic hand-carved letters reveals a secret intended only for a craftsman of the deep future. Hidden in the dead wax near the centre of the record, a hand-etched message serves as a humble final dedication to the makers of music, all worlds, all times. This inscription was not part of the official digital or analog recordings, but a tactile afterthought carved directly into the master disc by a human hand. It bridges the gap between the high-tech sensors of the spacecraft and the ancient, earthy tradition of artisan craftsmanship that defined human history for millennia. If we were to look closer, we would see that this message is a sign of ultimate humility, acknowledging that we are merely one voice in a potentially infinite cosmic orchestra. It is the final, hidden signature of a species that found its greatest purpose in the creation of harmony, even as it faced the silence of the void. By etching these words into the gold, we have ensured that our respect for the creative spirit will travel as far as our most sophisticated mathematics. Surprisingly, the record contains a map of a human consciousness caught in a single moment of profound reflection and internal transformation. The actual brainwaves of Anne Druyan, the creative director of the project, were recorded over a period of an hour using highly sensitive medical equipment and then mathematically compressed. These electrical impulses were transformed into a single, dense minute of audio that sounds to the ear like a rapid, rhythmic series of percussive clicks. It represents the only record of the internal state of a biological mind ever sent into the deep, lightless reaches of the galaxy. This recording serves as a bridge between the objective facts of our biology and the subjective reality of our internal experience. To an advanced intelligence, these fluctuations in voltage might be decoded to reveal the very structure of human thought and the processing of complex emotional data. It is a vulnerable, transparent offering, allowing the universe to peer into the hidden mechanics of the human soul. This minute of audio is a silent, pulsing testament to the fact that we were not just observers of the universe, but creatures who felt its weight deeply within ourselves. During her brainwave recording session, Druyan engaged in a deliberate and intense meditation that spanned the entire chaotic breadth of the human experience. She thought deeply about the long, often violent history of our civilization and the many tragedies that our species has endured over the centuries. She reflected on the persistence of war, the struggle for survival, and the profound resilience of the human spirit in the face of suffering. However, she concluded her mental journey by focusing entirely on the euphoric, life-altering feeling of falling in love with her colleague, Carl Sagan. This recording captures the electrical signature of a heart and mind discovering a new reason for existence, even as they prepared a message for the end of time. It is a profound biological paradox, where the memory of ancient violence is ultimately overwhelmed by the sudden radiant clarity of a personal connection. By including these thoughts, the record carries the full spectrum of our internal life, from our darkest shadows to our most luminous joys. Feel the slow, steady rise and fall of your own chest as you consider the immense, quiet depth of your own internal world at this very moment. If we were to look closer at the gaps in our cosmic playlist, we would find a silent, echoing space where one of our most beloved melodies was meant to reside. The inclusion of the Beatles' iconic track Here Comes the Sun was unfortunately blocked by their record label due to strict terrestrial copyright concerns. Even though the band members themselves expressed a deep desire for their music to reach the stars, the legal machinery of Earth proved more powerful than the ambition of the mission. This missing song serves as a quiet reminder of the complex and often restrictive social structures that govern our lives even as we try to transcend them. It is a fascinating irony that a message intended to last for billions of years was subject to the temporary and localized laws of 20th century commercial property. The empty space where the song should have been is a testament to the fact that we are a species still struggling to balance our grandest dreams with our most mundane restrictions. To a distant observer, this omission might be the most human thing about the record, revealing our flaws and our entanglements with our own systems. Even in our absence, the silence of that missing track tells a story of a world that was still learning how to truly share its treasures. This structure of hope includes a formal message from US President Jimmy Carter, which is inscribed directly onto the surface of the record for any future explorer to find. He acknowledges that the probe is a present from a small, distant world, a humble piece of technology sent out into the vast cosmic ocean. The message is not an anthem of power or a declaration of dominance, but a quiet and dignified statement of commonality and peaceful intent. It speaks for a species that is just beginning to understand its place in the universe and is eager to join a larger community of thinkers. The presidential greeting serves as a diplomatic passport for the probe, identifying its origin and the hopeful spirit of the creatures who launched it. It is a message that acknowledges our own limitations while expressing a stubborn, unyielding belief in the possibility of a shared future. By including this text, we have given the artifact a formal identity, a way for any finder to know that we once existed and that we came in peace. It is a humble, golden letter to the galaxy, written by a leader who looked at the stars and saw a reason for global unity. The committee deliberately made the difficult and controversial decision to avoid including any images of war, poverty, or disease in the final visual sequence. They chose instead to present a highly optimistic, idealized view of Earth, focusing entirely on our greatest achievements, our art, and our natural beauty. This careful curation was intended to show what we were capable of at our best, rather than documenting the many ways we have failed one another throughout history. It transforms the Golden Record into a hopeful dream of humanity, a version of ourselves that we wished were true as we cast it into the dark. This decision reflects a deep desire to be remembered not for our conflicts, but for our capacity to create and appreciate the world around us. Surprisingly, this sanitized portrait of our planet is a message in itself, revealing our profound need to project a sense of order and peace into the unknown. It is the ultimate act of self-presentation, a golden mirror that reflects only the light of our civilization. Allow your jaw to soften and your shoulders to drop as you imagine this peaceful version of our homeworld drifting forever through the silent, watchful stars. A delicate photograph of a snowflake is included in the gallery, capturing a transient moment of crystalline perfection that usually lasts only a few seconds in our atmosphere. This image is accompanied by a molecular formula and a scale to explain the exact nature of water ice to beings who may inhabit worlds where liquid water is an impossibility. It illustrates the mathematical order hidden within the most fragile and fleeting aspects of our environment, showing how simple molecules can organize into complex beauty. By providing the formula, we ensure that the alien observer understands the chemistry behind the cold, white geometry of our winters. If we were to look closer, we would see that this snowflake is a bridge between the physical world of weather and the abstract world of scientific laws. It demonstrates our ability to find patterns and meaning in the most microscopic details of our surroundings. The image serves as a quiet, frozen witness to the climate of our world, a snapshot of a cooling cycle that has shaped our history. It is a masterpiece of natural engineering, preserved in the gold as a testament to the intricate hidden structures that support the life of our planet. Surprisingly, one of the most intimate and recognizable sounds of human life is preserved within the grooves as a record of our capacity for affection. The distinct wet sound of a kiss was recorded by Carl Sagan and Anne Druyan to permanently capture the essence of human connection and physical intimacy. It is a small, quiet moment of biological bonding that speaks more clearly of our nature than any grand political speech or complex scientific diagram. This recording carries the warmth of a human touch across the light years, offering a glimpse into the private, loving world of the creatures who built the machine. This sound is a universal signifier of care, a biological constant that transcends the need for words or cultural context. It reminds any listener that we are a species driven by our social bonds and our need to be close to one another. To an extraterrestrial intelligence, this brief audio clip might be the most profound and moving part of the entire record. It is the sound of a heart reaching out to another, a golden whisper of love that will outlast the stars that currently guide the probe. Deep within the background of the audio tracks, a subtle, rhythmic pulsing carries a message of unyielding and stubborn human ambition. A Morse code signal spelling out the Latin phrase per aspera ad astra, meaning through hardships to the stars, is tucked away where only the most diligent observer might find it. It is a hidden motto for the entire mission, acknowledging the immense difficulty of our journey and the resilience of our hope. This quiet electronic heartbeat reminds any listener that we did not reach the stars easily, but through a long and arduous struggle against our own limitations. It serves as a secret bond between the creators of the record and the unknown intelligence that might one day decipher its hidden layers. Surprisingly, this message is a testament to our historical understanding that progress is often born of conflict and trial. It is a proud, rhythmic declaration that our presence in the cosmos is the result of millions of years of perseverance and growth. Let your body sink deeper into its resting place, feeling the profound stillness of the room around you as you contemplate the eternal rhythm of our progress. The timing marks on the cover diagram reference a series of rapidly spinning pulsars, ensuring that the cosmic map remains readable for billions of years into the future. Because pulsars act as highly accurate natural clocks that slow down at a predictable rate, an alien astronomer can use them to determine the exact date of the probe's launch. This celestial reference system tethers the record to the immutable laws of the galaxy, providing a chronological anchor that survives long after our own sun has faded. It is a brilliant piece of astronomical foresight, ensuring that our message remains relevant even in a universe that is constantly in motion. If we were to look closer at the diagram, we would see a masterpiece of intergalactic navigation that uses the stars themselves as a shared language of time and space. This map proves that we have spent centuries mapping the heavens, discovering the natural rhythms that govern the life of the galaxy. It is our ultimate anchor in the dark, a golden compass that allows any traveller to find the specific moment in history when we reached out to say hello. This final fact completes our understanding of the record as a vessel of both human emotion and cosmic precision, waiting silently for its day of discovery. Waiting silently for that eventual day of discovery, the twin spacecraft continue their relentless, high-speed flight through the freezing dark of the outer solar system. These metallic messengers travel at a staggering velocity of roughly 35,000 miles per hour, a speed that carries them further from our home every single second. As they push outward, they are slowly but surely distancing themselves from the fading warmth and life-giving light of the sun. Surprisingly, the solar wind that once buffered their hulls begins to thin and weaken as they approach the invisible boundary of our star's influence. This structure of flight is not a frantic escape, but a steady, patient coasting into the absolute unknown. Each mile gained is a mile further from the familiar, as the sun shrinks to a mere point of brilliant light in the rear view of their sensors. If we were to look closer, we would see a craft that is perfectly indifferent to the massive distances it covers, driven by the laws of inertia toward the edges of the galaxy. It is a lonely, majestic progress that marks the true beginning of our species' tenure as wanderers in the dark. This journey is the ultimate test of our engineering, a sprint through the void that will last for eons. Deep within the history of our exploration, a monumental milestone was reached in the year 2012 that changed our perspective on the cosmic neighbourhood forever. It was during this time that Voyager 1 officially crossed the heliopause, the turbulent boundary where the sun's influence finally gives way to the pressure of the interstellar medium. By passing through this invisible wall, the probe became the very first human-made object to exit the safety of the solar bubble and enter true interstellar space. This structure of the galaxy is a vast, airless theatre where the winds of distant stars clash with the remnants of our own. The transition was marked by a sudden dramatic increase in the density of cosmic rays and a shift in the magnetic environment surrounding the spacecraft. Notice how the silence of the void becomes even more profound as the probe leaves behind the last whispers of the solar wind. This crossing represents a total graduation for our species, moving from a planetary existence to a truly galactic one. If we were to look closer at the data, we would find a record of a machine surviving a transition that was once purely theoretical. It now sails through the interstellar medium, a pioneer in a realm that has remained untouched by human influence for billions of years. This structure of survival ensures that the golden records are fully expected to outlast the very planet that gave them birth, serving as a permanent legacy in the stars. Because they are cradled in the sterile, airless environment of the frozen vacuum, they are protected from the biological and geological decay that eventually erases all things on Earth. Scientists predict that these artifacts could potentially survive for billions of years, perhaps even witnessing the final transformation of our Sun into a white dwarf. Surprisingly, the gold-plated surfaces will remain bright and reflective long after the oceans of our home have boiled away and the continents have been ground to dust. It is a humbling realization that our songs and our voices may be the only remnants of our world in the deep future of the galaxy. As you feel the steady, reassuring support of the ground beneath you, contemplate the immense longevity of these small metallic messengers. They carry the essence of our civilization into a time frame that exceeds our comprehension, acting as a bridge between the present and the literal end of time. This record is our most durable creation, a defiant shout against the inevitable silence of planetary death. It ensures that the story of humanity is etched into the very fabric of the cosmos for the rest of eternity. If we were to look closer at the projected path of the first probe, we would find a journey that spans a staggering amount of time and distance. It will be approximately 40,000 long years of silent drifting before Voyager 1 makes its closest approach to the nearest star system, known to our astronomers as Gliese 445. This red dwarf star sits in the constellation of Camelopardalis, waiting in the deep dark for our messenger to pass within a few light years of its glow. During this immense span of time, the probe will travel through a reach of space so empty that it defies human imagination. This structure of the voyage highlights the sheer scale of the interstellar ocean, where the gaps between stars are measured in tens of trillions of miles. Surprisingly, the probe will not enter the star system itself, but will merely glide past it like a ghost in the night. This encounter will be a quiet, unobserved meeting between a machine from a distant past and a star that may have its own unknown stories. It serves as a reminder that the galaxy is a vast, sparsely populated wilderness, where even our fastest machines take eons to reach the next flickering campfire. The journey to the stars is a marathon of patience that we have only just begun. Surprisingly, the second probe is currently following its own unique and lonely trajectory toward a different corner of the local stellar neighbourhood. Voyager 2 will eventually pass within a few light years of another red dwarf star, Ross 248, in a journey that will also take about 40,000 years to complete. This star, located in the constellation of Andromeda, is a small and dim neighbour that is slowly moving toward our own solar system, even as the probe moves toward it. This structure of orbital mechanics creates a slow-motion dance between a human artifact and a celestial body across the vastness of the interstellar medium. Notice how the probe continues its steady progress despite the lack of any further propulsion, guided entirely by the momentum of its initial launch and the tug of galactic gravity. It is a testament to the purity of Newtonian physics, where a single push can carry a message across the boundaries of time and space. As you allow your limbs to grow heavy and still, imagine the profound silence of this machine as it glides through the dark for 40 millennia. This journey is a testament to our ability to cast our influence far beyond the limits of our own lives. It ensures that our presence is felt in multiple directions across the local galaxy, a multi-pronged reaching out to the infinite. If we were to look closer at the philosophical heart of the mission, these records represent an impossibly small and fragile message in a bottle, thrown boldly into the vastest ocean conceivable. The interstellar medium is a sea of vacuum so immense that the chance of the probe being found is equivalent to finding a single grain of sand in a desert that covers the world. This structure of the mission was born of a deep romantic hope that someone, somewhere, might one day stumble upon our metallic testimony. It is an act of supreme optimism, a belief that the universe is not just a void, but a place where connections can eventually be made. The probe is a tiny speck of gold and aluminum, lost in a theatre of billions of stars and trillions of miles of empty space. Surprisingly, the creators of the record fully understood these odds, yet they chose to launch the message anyway as a gift to the future. It is a beautiful, desperate reaching out that defines our species' character, a refusal to accept the silence of the void as the final answer. This bottle is currently floating through the galactic currents, carrying our music and our memories into a sea that has no shore. It is our most profound gesture of cosmic solidarity, a promise that we were here and we wanted to be known. Deep within the systems of the spacecraft, the radioactive fuel that powers the sensors and the transmitters is slowly but inevitably decaying toward a final, absolute silence. Long after the probes completely lose their ability to generate electricity and go utterly dark, the golden records will remain completely intact on their protective mounts. This structure of the mission ensures that the most important part of the cargo does not require a single watt of power to remain a viable message. The music and the images are physically carved into the copper, awaiting the physical touch of a stylus rather than the transmission of a signal. Even as the computers fail and the heaters shut down, the gold-plated surfaces will sit in a state of perfect frozen preservation. Surprisingly, the biting, absolute cold of the interstellar medium silently brushing against the spacecraft's metal hull acts as a natural guardian, preventing decay. This means that the record is effectively a passive monument, a silent sleeper waiting for a future that may not even remember its creators. As the craft becomes a dead hunk of metal, the golden disc continues to shine with the potential of 1,000 stories. It is a masterpiece of low-tech durability in a high-tech shell, designed to survive the death of its own host. If we were to look closer at the protective cover of the record, we would find a subtle and brilliant tool that acts as an eternal radioactive calendar for any future finders. The uranium-238 clock electroplated onto the surface will allow advanced civilizations to calculate the exact era of the probe's launch with astonishing accuracy. Because this specific isotope decays at a perfectly constant rate, the ratio of uranium to its decay products serves as a universal signature of time. This structure of dating does not rely on human calendars or the rotation of our planet, but on the fundamental laws of nuclear physics that are consistent throughout the galaxy. It provides the finder with the context of our civilization's place in the history of the universe. telling them exactly how many billions of years have passed since we were alive. Surprisingly, this radioactive ticking is the only part of the message that is actively changing, a silent countdown. It ensures that even if our star system has vanished, our temporal location remains fixed and verifiable to any intelligence with a knowledge of chemistry. This clock is our final piece of logic, a scientific handshake that bridges the gap between our fleeting moment and the deep time of the cosmos. It turns the record into a precise archaeological artifact of the highest order, drifting patiently through the dark. Notice the profound and deeply sobering probability that these records will eventually become the only surviving evidence that human civilization ever existed at all. In the long-term history of the solar system, our planet is subject to the violent cycles of plate tectonics, asteroid impacts, and the eventual expansion of the Sun. This structure of planetary change means that almost every monument, building, and digital record we have ever created will eventually be consumed or erased. Surprisingly, the small golden disks floating in the deep freeze of interstellar space are immune to these terrestrial cataclysms, potentially outlasting the very world that built them. They are our final, most durable legacy, a handful of copper and gold that carries the memory of our entire species into a post-human future. As you allow the tension to melt away from your neck and jaw, contemplate the responsibility resting on these silent artifacts. They are the ultimate backup of our existence, a backup that will continue to drift through the local galactic disk long after our own star has gone out. This realization transforms the mission from a simple, scientific experiment into a profound act of planetary preservation. We have successfully placed a part of ourselves beyond the reach of time's destruction, ensuring a memory that spans the eons. This structure of the journey is defined by its incredible safety, as the probes sail endlessly through an unimaginably empty void where the chance of a destructive collision is infinitesimally small. Even though the galaxy is filled with billions of stars, the actual density of matter in the interstellar medium is lower than the most perfect vacuum we can create on Earth. If we were to look closer, we would find that the distance between even the smallest grains of cosmic dust is often measured in miles. This means that the Golden Record is travelling through the safest environment conceivable, a place where it can drift in perfect peace for eons without ever being disturbed. Surprisingly, the greatest threat to its existence is not the violence of space, but the sheer vastness that makes it so difficult to ever be found. It is a lonely but secure flight, a trajectory that ensures the physical integrity of our message is preserved. This emptiness is our greatest ally, a buffer of absolute silence that protects our music and our memories from the chaos of the material world. The probes are the most serene travellers in history, coasting through a darkness that is both their protector and their prison. They carry our story into a future where time itself becomes a different kind of distance, waiting silently for the stars. The silence of those stars, where our serene travellers wait in the absolute dark, brings us to a profound and unsettling realization regarding the target audience of our message. If we were to look closer at the incredible diversity of life on our own planet, we would find organisms that sense the world through electricity, chemical gradients, or the extreme pressure of deep-sea vents. Surprisingly, we have built the entire Golden Record on the anthropocentric assumption that a spacefaring intelligence would share our specific sensory apparatus, relying on eyes to decode light and ears to interpret vibrations in the air. This structure of our interstellar greeting is designed for beings who perceive the universe in the same frequency ranges that we do, a hopeful gamble against the infinite variety of possible biology. It is entirely possible that a finder in the deep future might possess a consciousness so fundamentally alien that our golden disk remains an impenetrable, silent mystery of dead metal. We have sent a symphony to a universe that may be utterly deaf to sound, and a gallery to a void that may be entirely blind to the spectrum of visible light. As you allow your breathing to slow into a deep, steady rhythm, contemplate the sheer audacity of trying to speak to a mind that may not even share your definition of reality. This first paradox reminds us that the record is as much a testament to our own biological limitations as it is to our creative triumphs. It is a lonely golden shout into a theatre where the audience may not even know that we're performing. It is deeply ironic that our grandest and most enduring attempt to communicate with a deep, distant future required the use of analog technology that is now considered entirely obsolete on our own planet. While we currently live in a world defined by the flickering speed of digital bits and the ephemeral storage of the intangible cloud, our most permanent legacy is a physical disk etched with microscopic valleys and ridges. This structure of copper and gold relies on the tactile mechanical contact of a stylus, a method of playback that has largely vanished from the daily lives of the very people who launched it. If we were to look closer, we would see that the very technology we discarded for its perceived fragility is actually the only medium durable enough to survive the billion-year radiation of interstellar space. Digital storage, with its magnetic vulnerabilities and complex software requirements, would have perished long ago in the harsh and unforgiving environment of the galactic void. We have reached out to the future by reaching back into our own technological past, using the simplest and most honest methods to secure a place in the eternity of the stars. Notice how the record represents a peak of human craftsmanship that requires no electricity to exist, merely the physical laws of motion and friction to reveal its secrets. It stands as a physical artifact in a digital age, a heavy and golden reminder of the time when we still touch the things we created. This mechanical ambassador carries the warmth of our history into a future that may have forgotten the sound of a needle touching a groove. If we were to look closer, the act of making the record was ultimately more about unifying humanity in the present than it was about actually contacting aliens in the far future. During the height of the Cold War, a period defined by the terrifying spectre of nuclear annihilation and deep ideological divides, the Golden Record project offered a rare and luminous moment of global cooperation. This structure of the mission forced a handful of brilliant thinkers to look past their national borders and consider what it truly meant to be a member of the human family. Surprisingly, the process of choosing the greetings and the music was an act of planetary therapy, a way of reminding ourselves that we shared a common heritage and a single, fragile home in the dark. It was less about who might find the record in the distant eons, and more about who was launching it in the present, a way of seeing our own reflection in the vastness of space. As your body rests in the absolute peace of this moment, consider how the quest for extraterrestrial connection actually brought us closer to the people standing right next to us. The record is a golden bridge built between the warring factions of a single world, a silent plea for unity that we whispered to the stars so that we might finally hear it ourselves. It serves as a permanent record of the time when we stopped fighting for a moment and looked up at the heavens as one species. This project was our way of proving to ourselves that we were worth saving, even as we prepared for the possibility of our own destruction. By selectively curating our history, the committee created a beautifully fictionalized and perfect version of Earth that never truly existed in its messy and painful entirety. This structure of the record deliberately omits the darkness of our species, excluding every single image of war, the crushing weight of poverty, and the devastating reach of disease. If we were to look closer, we would see a world of smiling faces, lush landscapes, and the soaring triumphs of art and science, presented as if the human experience were a constant, unbroken song of joy. Surprisingly, this editorial choice was a form of protective magic, an attempt to present ourselves to the universe as the peaceful and enlightened beings we always wished we could be. We have sent our best self into the dark, a golden lie that serves as an idealized reflection of our potential rather than a record of our troubled reality. The record is not a mirror of Earth as it was, but a dream of Earth as it could have been, a vision of harmony cast into a universe that knows nothing of our internal struggles. Let the weight of your resting body sink deeper into the surface beneath you as you contemplate the version of yourself you would choose to send to the stars. This golden filter was our way of honouring the beauty we created while quietly burying the suffering that accompanied it. It is a testament to our deep, human desire to be remembered for our light, rather than our shadows. The true and enduring value of the golden disc lies fundamentally in the profound hope and ambition it inspired in the people who launched it into the unknown. Notice how the act of building the probe was a collective exercise in looking upward, a rare moment where a divided planet found a shared, singular purpose in the pursuit of the infinite. It is a testament to the fact that we are a species capable of incredible long-term thinking, investing our genius into a project that offers no immediate terrestrial reward. This structure of aspiration proves that our spirit is not content with the boundaries of our own atmosphere, but yearns to be part of the wider cosmic story. Allow your breathing to slow and your shoulders to drop as you consider the sheer audacity of this human reaching across the light years. The record is a monument to our bravery, a sign that even in our smallest moments, we were capable of imagining ourselves as part of a grand galactic community. It is a golden anchor of hope, holding us steady against the overwhelming vastness and the terrifying silence of the space between the stars. We launched the records because we believed that we were worth knowing, and that belief is the most powerful thing we have ever created. This mission was the ultimate expression of our curiosity, a gift of our collective heart to the deep future of the universe. This structure of memory functions almost as a cosmic gravestone, preemptively memorializing a restless species that is still very much alive and struggling on its homeworld. It is a strange and moving paradox to have a memorial that precedes the death of the subject, a message intended for a time when every person who helped create it will be long forgotten. If we were to look closer, we would see that the record is a preemptive legacy, a way of ensuring that our existence is not erased by the inevitable tides of geological time. The probe floats through the dark like a silent marker, signifying that on a small and rocky blue planet, a curious intellect once looked at the heavens and dared to speak its name. We have placed our obituary in the stars while we are still in the prime of our youth, a hedge against the absolute and final silence of extinction. This record is a promise that we will be remembered, even if the only beings who remember us are the ones who find our cold, golden remains. As you lie still in the quiet of the night, feel the profound connection between your own heartbeat and the silent, drifting journey of this metallic testament. It is a piece of us that will live forever, a permanent scar of beauty on the face of the eternal dark. We have achieved a form of immortality that is independent of our survival, a ghost of our civilization haunting the empty corridors of the galaxy. If an extraterrestrial intelligence ever finds this artifact, they may unfortunately interpret the sounds as mere chaotic noise rather than structured and meaningful information. This structure of perception is the ultimate hurdle of first contact, where the distinction between a signal and the background static of the universe depends entirely on the observer's frame of reference. Surprisingly, the intricate melodies of the masters or the rhythmic pulse of the heart might sound like nothing more than the random vibrations of a distant pulsar to a non-human ear. We have assumed that our definitions of order and beauty are universal, but the void may perceive our greatest symphonies as meaningless interference or accidental resonance. It is a humbling realization that our most sophisticated messages might be heard as a long and incomprehensible scream into the night. We have sent a riddle wrapped in gold, hoping against all odds that the universe possesses the specific kind of mind required to solve it. Take a moment to relax your jaw and your hands, considering how much of your own world is lost in translation even between the people you love. The Golden Record is a gamble on the existence of a shared logic, a hope that the laws of physics provide a common ground for the meeting of minds. It is our most desperate attempt at communication, a message that relies entirely on the kindness and the curiosity of a total stranger. The crushing and eternal silence of the universe surrounding the probe only amplifies the profound loneliness of the human condition as we drift through the dark. Notice how the vast distances between the stars highlight the absolute isolation of our small and fragile home in a remote corner of a spiral galaxy. If we were to look closer at the trajectory of the probe, we would see a reflection of our own existential search for companionship in a cosmos that offers no immediate answer. This structure of our journey into space is a manifestation of our deep-seated fear of being alone, a desperate reaching out for a touch that may never come. Settle your body into a state of quiet and restorative rest, feeling the soft, steady rhythm of your breath in the stillness of the room. The record is a lonely traveller carrying a message of belonging to a place where the concepts of here and there lose all their meaning. It is a golden heart beating in the cold, a testament to the fact that we were here, we were awake, and we were looking for a friend. The silence of the void does not diminish our message, but rather provides the necessary backdrop for its fragile and beautiful resonance. We are the architects of our own company, building a bridge of sound across a gap that may never be closed. In trying to explain absolutely everything about ourselves in a single hour of audio, we inadvertently highlighted the absolute impossibility of capturing the true human experience. This structure of the project was a monumental exercise in reduction, attempting to squeeze the history, the culture, and the spirit of billions of lives into a few narrow grooves of copper. If we were to look closer, we would see that for every sound we included, 1,000,000 other voices were left in the silence of the cutting room floor. Surprisingly, the record is as much a testament to what we are not as it is to what we are, a fragment of a whole that can never be fully reconstructed. We have tried to bottle the lightning of our existence, only to find that the lightning is far too vast for any vessel we can construct. The record is a beautiful and doomed attempt at totality, a single grain of sand meant to represent the entire desert of our collective history. As you contemplate the richness of your own memories, acknowledge that no recording could ever truly hold the depth of a single human life. The Golden Record is a symbolic gesture, a shorthand for a complexity that is simply too great for the physical world to contain. It is a humble admission that our story is larger than our ability to tell it, a mystery that we have gifted to the stars. The Voyager record remains a breathtaking paradox of human ego and humility, screaming our existence into a void that may never care to listen. It is an act of supreme arrogance to assume that our small and fleeting story is worth the attention of the universe, yet it is an act of profound humility to send that story into a future where we will be nothing but dust. This structure of the mission reflects the dual nature of our spirit, the pride that builds monuments and the wisdom that understands they will eventually fall. If we were to look closer at the golden disc, we would see the final and shining culmination of our desire to be seen and our acceptance of our own fundamental smallness. Surprisingly, the record is both a shout of defiance and a whisper of surrender, a golden message cast into the infinite dark by a species that knew it was only temporary. We have left our mark on the stars, a small and shining testament to a world that once dared to dream of a cosmic connection. Allow yourself to drift into a peaceful and dreamless sleep, knowing that a piece of your world is sailing forever through the quiet beauty of the galaxy. The paradox is not a failure, but a triumph of the heart over the cold logic of the vacuum. We have made ourselves eternal in the only way we knew how, by turning our fleeting lives into a golden song of light. Fact 101. The Grand Synthesis. By launching our music, our voices, and our most beautiful illusions into the eternal dark, humanity accepted its own impermanence while stubbornly insisting that our fleeting existence was deeply worth remembering. By launching our music, our voices, and our most beautiful illusions into the eternal dark, humanity accepted its own impermanence while stubbornly insisting that our fleeting existence was deeply worth remembering. It remains a testament to the fact that we loved our world enough to try and make it immortal, even if only in the form of a gold-plated copper dream. This final realization brings our journey to a close, resting on the profound truth that the record is not just a message for others, but a mirror for ourselves. This quiet room now becomes the center of your focus as the final echoes of the voyage fade into the distance. Surprisingly, the body begins to mirror the stillness of the craft, settling into the soft, supportive surface of the bed. If we were to look closer at your feet, we would find them heavy and still, as if the long walk through history has finally reached its destination. Deep within the muscles of your calves and thighs, a gentle warmth begins to spread, mirroring the slow and patient crawl of a craft through the silent void. The weight of your legs is fully supported, allowing the knees and hips to relax into a state of perfect, unmoving equilibrium. Your lower back feels the soft embrace of the mattress, a grounding force that anchors you as the mind lets go of the distant horizons. With every breath, the chest rises and falls like a slow, rhythmic tide moving against a quiet, familiar shore. The shoulders drop away from the ears, shedding the last remnants of the day's heavy thoughts and lingering responsibilities. Let the arms rest at your sides, from the elbows down to the very tips of your fingers, finding a total and heavy surrender. The neck and the throat now release their hold, allowing the head to sink into the deep, welcoming pillow. Every muscle in the hands becomes soft and still, resting in the absolute comfort of the blankets that surround you. This quiet room is filled only with the soft sound of your own steady, peaceful respiration. Surprisingly, the body knows exactly how to find the path toward a deep and restorative slumber. If we were to look closer at the face, the jaw is completely relaxed, leaving the teeth slightly parted and the tongue resting softly. The skin across your cheeks and temples feels smooth and cool, releasing the last traces of the day. The small muscles around the eyes grow heavy and smooth as the eyelids remain gently closed in the dim light. All the tiny lines on the forehead soften and disappear, replaced by a sense of vast and empty tranquility. This feeling of calm spreads over the crown of your head, washing away any remaining flickers of wakefulness. The stillness is absolute, wrapping around you like a heavy, soft blanket that keeps out the noise of the day. You're drifting now, sinking into the soft depths of a sleep that is as vast and peaceful as a quiet forest. Every part of you is now at rest, submerged in the calm and healing waters of silence. The pillow holds you in a perfect embrace, supporting the weight of your dreams with a gentle and unwavering strength. This quiet darkness is your sanctuary, a place where the mind can finally become as still as the deep earth. You are whole, you are relaxed, and you are ready to sleep. And now, 101 wonders are resting with you. Sleep now. Good night.